Lights up on Washington Heights, up at the break of day. I wake up and I got this little punk I gotta chase away. Pop the grade at the crack of dawn, sing while I wipe down the awning. Hey y'all, good morning.
Ice cold piragua, parcha, china, cherry, strawberry, and just for today, I got mame.
Oye, Piragüero, ¿cómo estás?
Como siempre, señor Usnavi.
I am Usnavi, and you probably never heard my name. Reports of my fame are greatly exaggerated, exacerbated by the fact that my syntax...
Hello, all you theater lovers, both out and proud and on the DL, and welcome back to Broadway Breakdown, a podcast discussing the history and legacy of American theater's most exclusive address, Broadway. I am Matt Koplik, the least famous and most opinionated of all the Broadway podcast hosts. This series is called The Big Move, and it is covering shows that had so much success off-Broadway that they just had to transfer to the Great White Way and try some luck over there. My guest today is a Broadway actor, singer. You might have seen him in Und Juliet as the role of Frankie, and we hope he's perfectly frank on this episode. Please welcome Philippe Arroyo.
Hello.
Hello, Philippe.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Philippe.
Yeah.
What motherfucking musical are we talking about today?
Talking about one of my favorite musicals of all time, In the Heights. I did it a few times growing up. It was one of my very first professional musicals that I did, that I got paid $300 for the entire run.
Cold hard cash, $300.
Yeah. It was awful.
Well, how long was that run?
I think it was 8 weeks. No, that's way too long for $300.
Yeah,
it was like
including rehearsal time.
Yeah, but it was also not equity, and
Sure.
it was maybe I would want to say 5 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks, $300.
5 weeks. So that's 5 weeks of performances, or 5 weeks including rehearsal?
I think including rehearsal.
Okay, that's still bad, but
Still bad.
In my mind, I'm like 5 weeks of
Yeah.
performances plus 3 weeks of rehearsals. That's a lot.
It was great.
Yeah. Listen, non-equity, you do what you do until you don't need to do it.
And I
no
was
more.
young. I was maybe 19. So it was the experience, really, that I was gaining.
We're still young, Philippe.
For sure. For sure.
I dress like I'm still.
I'm at
19.
least 22.
I can play 22.
I can play 22.
I
but
sleep in nothing but Vaseline every night.
That's really smart.
Thank you very much.
I should do that as well.
Well, you're playing an ingenue. You got to.
I'm playing an ingenue, and I think that ingenue is also 18 in the show.
I'm pretty sure all of the characters other than Betsy are like 18 in that
I'm
show.
going to let you in on a little secret. I am not 18.
You're not?
No.
That's theater lying to me? How not young are you? Don't give me a number. Just, are you above 22?
Am I above 22? Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
Yeah. If I could recrawl. Yeah.
Recrawl.
If
I could recrawl back into my youth, I would.
I would say I'm above 25.
Okay.
I would say I'm above 28.
Oh, listen, samesies. If you keep going,
I would say I'm 30.
Okay.
But
I
like
consider
not.
that I consider that still young.
Okay.
Because I am no longer 30.
Okay.
I'm not 40. I'm not even 35. But I am not 30 anymore.
Where are you?
Imagine if I was like, I'm 52.
Fine.
Yeah, no, I'm
You look
30.
great.
Thank you. I turned 33 a few months ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
It's the Jesus year, correct?
People keep saying that, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm Jewish, and we view Jesus as like, the Jews view Jesus as like, we're a family that all went to Harvard, and he decided to go to Sarah Lawrence. It's like, he went down his own path.
Sure.
We're not upset about it. It's just different from ours.
I mean, my parents are doctors, and I went to musical theater. So I guess in the same way, I'm sort of like Jesus in that, like, I went on my own path. I'm not 33, but yet.
Yes, it'll happen.
I'll call you, though, when I'm 33.
Please do. Yeah.
I'll equate myself to Jesus.
We're both Jesus in this situation in different ways. And speaking of Jesus, some might say the Jesus of musical theater is attached to In the Heights.
Yeah, it's in there.
Yeah. I don't think he would say that about himself.
No.
Yeah, that's one of those things that people like to think about Lin, where I'm like, listen, I love the guy, and like all of us, we all, he has his faults like the rest of us, but I don't think he is the egotist people like to make him out to be.
I never thought that people did.
Well, so, I mean, the internet is a wonderful hellscape, you know? And Gen Z has a lot of opinions. Where it's sort of, you get three nuggets of information. You go, okay, I know the whole landscape. It's like,
Yeah.
It's like when the movie came out and he was Piragua, everyone was like, oh.
I was thinking about this on my way over here, and I was actually thinking about how much I love that he puts himself in his own works, because I have a couple of shows that I wish that I could have created, and I sit on the subway, I listen to my musicals, and I cast them in my head as if I wrote them, and In the Heights and Hamilton are one of those things. And I imagine this world where I wrote this musical and I cast myself in my own thing. And I think it's because, and I think I've actually heard Lin speak about this, is that he didn't see himself in a lot of the roles that were written for Broadway.
Yeah.
And I think the best way to combat that is to write your own material and throw yourself in a position where you can write yourself as anything you want to be. I think that's great, and I think also people can see that in a negative way.
Yeah,
but
also his earnestness, and we'll talk about this with the show itself. I mean, I have found works that are super earnest and people who are super earnest, they tend to break out big early, and then there's always a backlash to that because genuine love can make a lot of people uncomfortable, and snark is considered more intelligent than just open-hearted love. And Lin is, if nothing, that man's got his heart on his sleeve.
Love is love.
Yeah, he's got it under his armpit, on his nose. It's everywhere. And it's something I really appreciate about him, and especially as he gets more and more successful. My only gripe with Lin, and this is not a him problem as much as I'm like, just take a moment to look around. I part of me loves that everything he does, he's still like, can you believe they let us do this? And part of me is like, yes, because you're Lin-Manuel Miranda, they'll let you do anything you want.
I think it's I think he's just I think he knows where he came from.
Sure.
And I think there's like a humbleness to him in that I don't know that he knows how good he is. I know other people could vastly disagree with me on that. But to me, I've always seen it as a genuine take on his surprise at where he is.
So I talked about this with Courtney Bassett with Celine Dion.
Who's in Titanic?
She's in Titanic,
okay.
Yes. Because Kathy Griffin used to have this comedy special, My Life on the D-List, and she loves Celine as anyone with taste does. But she talks about, like, if you go see Celine Dion in concert, if you ever did see her in concert, anytime she would come out, she looked genuinely surprised to see a stadium filled with people, as if she's unaware that she's been sold out for months.
Yeah.
And I think part of it is that Celine does always get surprised, because I've said this before, if you read Nothing Like a Dame, Audra McDonald talks about all the time in that book of, like, you wake up every day, when you reach a certain moment of success, you wake up every day going, is today the day that everyone realizes I'm a fraud, that everything turns on me, and, like, it all goes away? Because it's happened for some people. Like, you reach a certain level of success and it slips through your fingers. And I do think with Lin, it's always genuine relief. Not shock, but relief that when he does something and it's received well, he's like, oh, thank God. Because anyone who's creating something is fucking hard, right? Sure. Anything. And no matter what you contribute to it, it's difficult. And I talked about this with Todd on the Spelling Bee episode. If you're in something, if you're working on something, you gotta drink the Kool-Aid a bit if you're gonna go out there with dignity, right?
Sure.
And I've had friends do shows, from inception to opening night, where by the time they get to opening, they're like, I genuinely think the thing I'm in is great, and I'll go see it and we'll talk afterwards. I'm like, I don't think it's as great as you might have thought it was, which is fine. Not everything can be amazing. But I say this to say, like, when you're working on something for so long, and Lin doesn't half-ass anything, the projects he works on always takes years. Take years.
Time.
Yeah, they take time. And so when it opens and there's a large love for it, it's not the Celine Dion of, like, oh my God, they came to the stadium, but more sort of like, oh yay, like, it's not just me.
Right.
At least 1,400 people really liked it today.
But it's also tricky because how as Celine Dion do you not know that is the response that you're going to get? People are going to come see you because you're fucking Celine Dion.
Well, but so, okay, there's the confidence you need to have of knowing you've got something to offer, right? While also knowing that you're not going to be for everyone. There's not a single artistic person or thing in this world that everyone loves. As anytime I write, I have a notebook in my room, and half of the pages are filled with quotes from critics of things I hate that are full on praise, or things that are generally considered terrible that they love, and then things that are generally considered amazing, and then finding all the bad reviews for them.
Yeah.
It's like there's an infamous review in the New Yorker of The Wizard of Oz, the movie when it came out in 1939, that's just like, it has absolutely no imagination, no creativity, visual styles all off, and I'm like, that might be one of the most beautiful movies ever made.
Yeah, I don't know how you could think that.
Truly. Oklahoma, when it was out of town, it was still called Away We Go. There was a review that said no legs, no girls, no chance, or something like that. Where it's just like
Jokes on them.
Jokes on them. And so I love shit like that. So in some ways you go, but of course, it's Celine Dion. Like you listen to the opening number of In the Heights, and you're like, of course. And yet I went back to research this thing because I do deep dives. I do the research.
I love that.
Yeah. And I mean, there were people who, and I have my notes on it, which we'll get into, but like there were people when the show was off Broadway, they were like unimaginative, dull, and I can't see this having any life outside of off Broadway. It won't even have a life off Broadway. And I'm like, okay, first of all, even if the show's not totally free, you cannot deny that there are numbers in that show that are the opposite of dull.
No.
They're fucking...
On my train ride here, I'm listening to the album Sobbing at Alabanza, Sobbing at Paciencia y Fe. It's what it is. And I think the time that which it came out, I hadn't heard of anything like it before.
Yeah.
I think the thing that I responded so much about it is, yes, it takes place in Washington Heights, and yes, there are a lot of Latin characters in it, but never once have I seen Latin characters that didn't necessarily, it wasn't about always being Hispanic. It wasn't always about being Latin. I'm a Hispanic actor who was born in Alabama. I don't speak a lick of Spanish, and this is a show that I can do from when I'm 16 to when I'm 70.
Yeah.
I will always have a role that I can play within this show. I can be Sonny, I can be Usnavi when I get older, I can be Kevin when I get older. Maybe one day I'll be Abuela.
Yeah.
When we get to the 80s.
Listen, I think I would love to see that production.
I could sing it.
If there's ever a version of the musical where they bring in changes from the movie, I would love to play Patrick Page.
Oh my God.
But I'm going to be a very gay Patrick Page.
Go for it.
And I'm going to just come on stage every time and be like, oh, honey, I'm taking you to the
If
cleaners.
you're going to be a gay Patrick Page, the voice has got to be deeper.
Oh, honey.
That's great.
I'm taking you to the cleaners.
Love it.
Literally. Get it? Because they're a dry cleaning store. My hot take also within the Heights, as I re-listened to it and I went to the library yesterday to watch it again.
At City Center?
At Lincoln Center,
Lincoln Center.
Because they have the off-Broadway cast... they have the off-Broadway production taped as well as the Broadway production. The Broadway production they recorded in October, right before Karen Olivo left to do West Side Story, which that was a whole endeavor. But,
wow.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
You know that she did West Side Story? Or they did West Side Story?
I know that she did West Side Story, but I didn't know that she left to do West Side Story.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so In the Heights opened on Broadway in March of 2008.
Okay.
And West Side Story, I believe, opened on Broadway in March of 2009 with an out-of-town tryout in D.C.
Oh, wow.
So I believe she had to leave to go to D.C. with West Side Story in like November or December of 2008. She was only on Broadway with the show for like 7 or 8 months.
Nuts. Was she nominated?
No, she was not.
Okay.
We'll talk about that as well with the Tonys. That was an interesting year with the Tonys because it's so fun to... And I just did a whole series on the Tonys. It's so fun to watch people's predictions early in the year, and then
see how they shift.
Yep.
Yeah,
and then the things that seem so obvious now were not obvious then. So the year of In the Heights, it was the 4 musical nominees were In the Heights, Passing Strange, Crybaby, and Xanadu.
Okay.
We have 3 very strong nominees and one that is there because Young Frankenstein and Little Mermaid were considered disappointments.
Really?
Oh yeah,
I remember that Young Frankenstein was at the time, I don't know if this was before Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, was considered at the time one of the most expensive musicals. And then Shrek was also considered. And
I think Shrek was the most expensive at the time. But Shrek was the year after Young Frankenstein. So Spider-Man was a few years after Frankenstein. Same theater, actually. This is why I'm here, because my brain is fucking stupid.
Vast. Yeah,
Vast and
everything.
Fucking stupid. But no, Young Frankenstein had a lot of bad buzz because it was right after The Producers, and it was the most expensive ticket on Broadway, and they chose not to release their grosses, which everyone was like, why would you do that? Because they wanted to sell the fact that they were a huge hit and they were totally sold out. But if you bought a $400 ticket and then saw that they were only 80% filled that week, you're like, why did I pay $400 for? I mean, and now that's like the average ticket price for half the shows on Broadway. But that was considered a huge disappointment. Mermaid was considered a huge disappointment. So Crybaby sort of slipped in there in the last second as a 4th nominee.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was a musical.
Crybaby?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a reason why you don't know it.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't good. The only good thing about it was Ali Mozzie had a song called Screw Loose, and she was like the one thing reason to see that show. But and that show had a lot of talented people in it. But yeah, when the season began, Xanadu was considered a total joke. No one thought that show was going to be good. It came out in the summer of 2007, ended up being really good, and everyone's like, oh, this might win Best Musical. And they announced In the Heights was moving to Broadway, and then it was sort of like a tug of war of what would be considered the front runner, because there were people who thought In the Heights wasn't going to do well on Broadway.
Right.
And then they announced Passing Strange was moving to Broadway, and everyone was like, oh, now it's between Passing Strange and In the Heights, which it still kind of was at Tony night, which is silly to think about, because much as I love Passing Strange, and I love that show with every fiber of my being, and we covered it on this podcast, it is not the commercial show that In the Heights is.
No.
Which it sounded weird to call In the Heights commercial at the time. It was a big gamble at the time, because there were no names in it. It was a style of music that had not really been heard on Broadway, at least to that extent. And even though it had a lot of good buzz off Broadway, it transferred like 9 months after the off-Broadway run. So it wasn't a direct move. And it was considered a dicey investment. And people also thought that the Richard Rodgers was too big of a theater for it. Everybody wanted a more intimate theater. Broadway World is a fascinating form to look at from, 15 years ago. The things people say, and you're like, oh, how little you knew at the time.
Right.
Yeah. But I say this because when the show finally did open in March, everyone was like, okay, like, solid shot at musical. But, like, I think Lin's probably the front runner for actor.
Sure.
Right?
Did he win?
He was
actor?
nominated. He did not win.
Okay.
Lin has yet to win an award for acting.
But for his musicals, he has.
He's won Best Score for In the Heights and for Hamilton.
Right.
And he won Book for Hamilton as well. He was nominated for Usnavi. He did not win. But he was considered the frontrunner when it opened, because the Times review for In the Heights, it liked the show, but it loved him. Charles Edgeworth was like, and he liked the whole cast, but mostly he was like, Lin-Manuel Miranda is our next big Broadway star, which turned out
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, it turned out true. And he loved the score. He thought the score was pretty incredible. There are a couple of ballads that he wasn't into, which...
Yeah, that's a interesting thing about that musical too,
Yeah.
where it's like there's a few things. It's interesting. When I listen to the album, there are skippable songs.
Yeah.
When I watch the musical, I can't imagine the musical without it.
Sure.
But the movie certainly could.
Yeah. Well, so there are two songs in the show where even when I watched it, I was like, I get why they're here. They make sense dramatically, but I'm a little snip about it.
Sure.
But that's just my own personal thing. What are Nina's parents' names?
Kevin
And
and Camila.
Camila, yes. Both of their songs I'm a little snip about.
Yeah.
And I know the Camila song came after Off-Broadway. She didn't have a song Off-Broadway, and they added it in Act 2 for her to give her some, backbone finally, which is great, and I love that. But the song for me is not... I love the idea of the song. I don't love the song itself. But those are the only two when I watch it where I'm like, I could skip them. And then when I listen to the album... I'm trying to think of any other songs in the album that I usually skip. It's not a lot. It's 95% a no skip for me. But this is to say, with that love letter from the Times for Lin, everyone thought it was going to be Lin winning the Tony. And then what ended up happening was, and everyone thought In the Heights would probably sweep the Tonys. What ended up happening was South Pacific opened in April.
Oh my God, I know this.
Yeah. And Patty LaPone Gypsy opened, I think, like 2 weeks after In the Heights.
Because
opened.
my dad in the show won.
Paolo shot.
Paolo, yeah.
He won the Tony.
He's the one that won over Lin.
He sure did.
I forgot.
Yeah. Daddy Paolo.
Daddy Paolo, my dad.
Your show has quite a few dads in it. And
It does. We got Stark.
You got Stark and you got Paolo. And then
Paolo. I'm 30. Can we call me a dad even though I play 18?
You're Zaddy.
Is that like a to-be daddy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Zaddy with a Z is like
take
daddy.
it.
It's like daddy in training. Yeah.
I'll call you once I get my first gray. And then we'll talk.
Do you have no grays at all?
No.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
What's it like to have a no-stressed life?
It's great.
Yeah. Your skin is glowing.
Thank you.
You're doing great, Kim.
Thank you. I
Doing great.
moisturize.
I do too.
SPF 30 in the morning. Cetaphil. Cetaphil.
I moisturize in the morning and at night, and then the listeners don't know this, but when I showed up to the studio, I was swamped in sweat.
No,
So
yeah, you were.
I was.
But you
very-
looked like you were glowing. You did.
Well, and now I feel like now that I've dried off. The dew of the sweat is on my face. So my face is still.
Yeah, you're moisturized. You look good.
I have
Camera ready.
No one would guess that I'm 45. Nobody.
Are you? I
No.
thought you were 33, you liar.
I am. Go fuck yourself. The fact that you even considered that I was 45.
No. Maybe.
Well, guys, Matt Koplik found dead in a ditch.
Or me.
No,
Or you.
I don't have the upper body strength to kill anybody. I have the desire, don't you worry. It was between South Pacific and Gypsy, there were 10 Tonys won by revivals, and then In the Heights won 4.
It sounds like it was a big year for shows.
It was. So we had South Pacific and Gypsy with Batty.
Uh-huh.
We had The Sunday in the Park with George with all the projections. So like those 3 revivals were pretty fucking, baller.
Right.
We had The Grease, You're the One That I Want,
The
come
Grease.
out. The Grease with Max Crum and COVID denier Laura Osnes. She's not a denier. She just is like, so what? She's very Vanessa Hudgens about it. She's very like, yeah, people are going to die, but I need to go to the grocery store.
Oh my God. Oh my God, I totally forgot all about her.
Yeah. We're like, no, Laura Osnes, the show's not called Crazy. It's called Crazy for You.
Oh no. Poor Laura.
Yeah, whatever.
I guess we can't really say poor Laura.
Whatever. She has a career doing Hallmark movies in Tennessee. She's fine.
It's true.
I was more happy that she got canceled because I was like, oh, can we be open now about her acting style? Can we?
I've never seen a lick of anything that she's ever done. I just know the name. I know the COVID thing. Call me a bad musical theater kid. But I just don't know. Was she did Bonnie and Clyde?
She sure did.
Okay, I know that much.
The things that Laura Osnes does well is mixing and being pretty. The things she doesn't do well are eating carbs and taking vaccines.
Oh my gosh, you're terrible.
Bringing it back to In the Heights, though, like In the Heights is so interesting because it is a good time. It is not meant to be, all gritty, hard dose of reality kind of show. There's reality that kind of creeps into the crevices of it, right? But Lin and Kiara, who wrote the book, they both were very open about how they didn't want to create a show with Latinx characters that was all gangs and violence and drugs. They're like, the way that Lin described it was he is obsessed with West Side Story. It's a masterpiece. He goes, however, and it's not West Side Story's fault, but West Side Story became the only musical theater outlet for Latin actors for decades.
And it vilifies Puerto Ricans.
Yeah. Well, it vilifies
both parties.
Yeah, it vilifies straight guys, let's be honest. And for, good measure. But he was like, it's not the show's fault that it's the only one. There were meant to be more after it, just nobody picked up a pen and did it.
Yeah.
And he goes, he's like, I kind of want to do the anti that just to have that other end of the spectrum. Like, why I would like there to be room for both in the community, and there is. But I do know that when the show came out, it was sort of a major criticism for some people, myself a little bit, but not too much, was that it was a very Disneyland version of Washington Heights. Not of the community, but of that neighborhood.
Sure.
Like, no violence really whatsoever. And it actually, the musical actually might have more violence than the movie.
Probably, yeah. I mean, the biggest takeaway that because I live in that area, I live in the Washington Heights area, and I know Lynn does as well. And I feel as if there is a difference. For sure, you're right. There is like a lighter version of Washington Heights, but the sense of community rings true within reality and the musical.
And the Heights that we have now is actually, it's not that it's more gentrified, although it is. There are more families of all backgrounds now up in the Heights, and a lot of Broadway actors who now live up there. And Lynn does still live in the Heights, but he lives in a gated community further uptown. But the thing about that area is that, like, it is very communal, it is very nice, but like there is a lot of noise and there can be violence sometimes, and it's not a super squeaky clean place. For every like neighbor you have that's lovely, you then have a neighbor that's like on the down and down. And I think for the good intentions that the show has, you can't not address the things that they kind of
gloss over.
Exactly. But I think, again, because the show leads with so much heart and because the music is so fucking exceptional, it does ultimately carry the day to being a successful evening of theater to me.
I think the reason why, and I could just be making this up, I kind of equate it to New York, which is just a love letter to New York. And and the thing that I enjoyed about New York is just sitting there and going, wow, I really do love this city, as shitty as it is. You know, I step in shit all the time. I smell piss everywhere, and you know, I'm about 2 blocks away from getting like beaten up by a random person. But when I watch In the Heights as well, I guess I just don't want to be, when I'm sitting there, I personally don't want to be reminded about how shitty New York is. Sure. I want to see what makes New York beautiful and also what makes that neighborhood beautiful. But I understand what you're saying. How you need to have a bit of both.
For people who live in the city, it's always a little tricky when you see a show about New York because for as far much of a love letter as something can be, for some of us, it's like now it's going a little too far. Like it becomes, I hate to use the term, like it becomes a little MAGA about New York, where it's like that's not actually what this city is. And the way I think that the best love letter in New York, and it's hard to do it on stage just because like no matter how much you try to like replicate Central Park, at the end of the day, you're on a stage doing Central Park. But so film and TV tends to be a little better for me in terms of being love letters. But the one I think is the most love letter is Broad City. Because
I still don't know it, but I've seen a few episodes. I know.
Try to get the baby. I don't have any money.
Yeah,
I know that.
Yeah, that's the first episode. It's really good. You should definitely watch it. Because the thing about Broad City is, first of all, the way they shoot New York, like there are times when they just show you like the majesty of a certain area. Like but they'll also poke fun of it. So like there's an episode in the first season where they have to go to a wedding out in Connecticut, and they're going to catch the train at Grand Central, and they're running late, and they get there, and then they realize actually no, the tickets they have are from Penn Station, not Grand Central. Oh, no. So they're leaving Grand Central, but Lincoln Hannibal Buress, he like stops to look around. He goes, "Wow, Grand Central really is majestic," and they have this beautiful shot of it, and it totally is.
Sure.
And then like one of them grabs him, like, "We have to fucking go," and then as they leave, they lose one of the members of their party because he's like, "Guys, I'm sorry, I can't. Penn Station, it's too gross." And then he just walks away. He's like, "I'm just not going to the wedding." Yeah. And in fact, like, and to those of us who live in New York, we're like, it's funny because it's heightened, but also kind
of true. Yeah.
You have the beauty of Grand Central in one respect, while also the hustle and bustle, like we got to fucking go. And then on the other end, Penn Station, it's disgusting. And this is Penn Station also like 12, 13 years ago, because they're trying to make it less disgusting now. But it was very disgusting then. But even
it's getting better.
Yeah, but even now with some of the renovations, like you still see,
you still smell the history.
You still smell the history. You still see a flock of pigeons gathering around a dead rat. and you just go, "Yep, I love this city."
This is the place for me.
Yeah. Do you know how I kind of think of New York? It's like when you are walking the streets and you step in dog poop and then, whatever, you go, "I'm living in the same New York City as Sarah Jessica Parker."
She did this too.
She rides the subway and she has to experience this as well. And that's the magic.
If Lin-Manuel can step in dog shit, so can I.
So can I.
I have gotten the chance to meet Lin twice. Maybe 2 or 3 times. And being Puerto Rican, my parents and everyone that I know back in Puerto Rico, everyone's obsessed with Lin. Everyone loves Lin, and so do I. And so having to get to meet him, someone who I kind of equate to being like my idol in a way, like someone who is able to write and also be so successful in what he does and what he writes in. Getting a chance to like meet him in person and him having see my work and knowing my name. I think the second time that I met him was for a Ham for Ham thing. And I just saw him and we were in the Richard Rodgers Theater, and I was just looking around. He was standing next to me, and I said, "Oh my God, like this is like kind of like a dream. I'm like standing here with you, and I've seen this show so many times, 10 times maybe." And he just grabs my arm. And he's like, let's go on stage. And it's just me and him on stage, and he's taking pictures and making that moment even more special. And that's why I feel like, I don't know, I love him a lot, just from the small interactions that we've had, just because he doesn't know me very well. We don't know each other, but he still saw that I was I was finding this moment to be very magical, and he just wanted to accentuate that.
Yeah, it's the positive version of Kieran and Shipka on the other two going, you want to pick? But that's who I want to be if I get famous enough. Anytime someone's like, oh, it's so great to meet you, I'm just going to turn super vapid and go, you want to pick?
A pick?
Like,
oh no!
It's like, oh, you're so sweet. Do you want to pick?
Oh no!
Yeah, I know. No, I think with Lin, as someone who has never met him, I have waited on Tommy Kail a bunch, and he's always been very nice to me. But I've met like people like Sarah Bareilles and people who are very sweet and very successful, and they are very aware that they are successful and they are well regarded.
Yeah,
but they don't think that makes them better. It just makes them fortunate to have this. They've worked hard for the success that they've had, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that they've like earned it or like that they're entitled to it. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people work hard, and a lot of people are talented, and a lot of people are smart, but some people just don't break through, and or they don't break through to that extent. And that is fine, and that is frustrating, and it's all the things. So I think to always be working hard, to always have something to prove, to always never take for granted the success you have is what can keep you sort of humbled and grounded, right? And there are some...
Because too much success can make you complacent.
Yeah, and it can definitely go to your head. I mean, we talked about this with the Spring Awakening cast when that show opened in 07 or 06, 07. Like, did you watch that documentary, the Guilty Ones, or Those You've Known?
Yeah, the one that came out maybe 2021, 22.
Yeah,
22?
22.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't know Spring Awakening very well, but that documentary, I wanted to learn more about it. And I wish I had seen it.
It was a lovely show when it came out, but like that cast broke out very big in the theater scene, especially with teenagers. Like teenage kids became so obsessed with it, and these very young actors, most of them who hadn't had any kind of success before, all of a sudden were treated like gods by, maybe not millions of people, but like a large number of enough people that would show up every night to see them.
Yeah,
that I don't care who you are. When you are 18 and 100 people every night are telling to your face, you are my idol, you are like God to me, that does something to you.
Sure.
And
we've seen the proof of that.
We sure have. And now we're seeing people trying to,
backtrack.
Yeah, or recognizing that it has affected them and trying to rewire. And I think that is something to applaud. Whether they are actually able to do it or not, we don't know. But like, it's easy to always just have been a good person and continue being a good person. But if you did get corrupted once and recognize it and then try to retrace your steps and go back to
Do you think that's harder?
I think it's harder. And I think it's something that warrants recognition. It's not everyone's able to do it. But the very fact that you are trying is something to recognize. But it's something that bothered me that Jay Groff said in the documentary. He's like, it's so crazy. The show was so successful, but it didn't go to any of our heads. And I'm sitting there going, I can tell you for a fact, based on personal experience, as someone who was never a guilty one. I was a Grey Gardens kid. I pride myself on it. But I know people who were a part of that show, either who worked on it or replaced, or I know people who were best friends with people in the original company. Like, it did go to a lot of members' heads. And that's... There's nothing...
I've heard so many stories.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with it in the sense that if you can look back and go, oh, you know what? I was 18 and a shit. And I can only do better moving forward. But to just blatantly say that, I was like, Jay Groff, maybe it didn't feel that way to you. And he is someone who I understand is also like very kind and gracious. And, despite how much success he has gotten, it has never really gone to his head either.
Yeah.
But it means like you're not really looking back honestly at the time, or you turned a blind eye to a lot of things that happened. And I think the only thing better than, just being amazing all the time, always, is recognizing when there was shitty things or shitty moments that you've done.
Yeah.
And understanding what it is that you did that caused pain and trying to build from that. Something that happened with the casting of the movie In the Heights, where there was a lot of backlash because when it came out, the Afro-Latina community felt very...
I remember that.
Yeah, they felt very looked over and betrayed by the casting. And to his credit, Lin came out and said, like, you're absolutely right. We tried. This is an aspect where we failed you, and I'm very sorry.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can only try to, do better in the future.
I remember that being really a really tricky time for the movie too.
Yeah. Listen, we were also like fresh in COVID, like things were coming back, movies were coming back, but people were still very fraught. We're all still fraught, but tensions were high just for a lot of people, and anything could trigger anybody at any moment. And that was a legitimate concern, but it came with such a fervor where I was like, guys, these are people who came together to make a movie. No one involved is Donald Trump or Mitch McConnell. Please do not treat them with that kind of anger and like pitchforks. Like, you can say very openly how upset you are, and that is totally fair.
Yeah.
But do not call for their heads on a platter.
It's tricky, right? Because it is a musical that has a lot of POC.
Yeah.
It has a lot of representation. And it's tricky when that representation still isn't enough. For me specifically, I'm not Afro. I'm not Afro-Latina. I'm not Afro-Latino. I'm what I am. And when I saw that movie musical, I felt represented in a lot of ways. I had never seen like Puerto Ricans featured, even Dominicans featured in that way before. Like you said before, it's usually we're in gangs and we have to speak Spanish. Like so many auditions I get where I have to be Spanish and I have to speak Spanish in order to be Spanish. And I, as an actor, have never felt Spanish enough to play what I am. And that musical for me, again, it's not necessarily a musical where I have to be fluent. I have to be a certain thing. I can just be. So that's why it's tricky, because for me, I totally saw my representation, but for the Afro-Latino community, that wasn't the case. So how do you juggle both of those things? How do you make it representative for as many people as you can? While still trying to like hold on to a version of the show of what you had in the past. I don't know the answer.
So first of all, I want to say I also feel represented in the Heights just by the sheer ferocity of everybody in it. I'm like, I see fierce people on stage. I'm like, oh, I see myself. But no, joking. But I talked about this before with the queer community. And actually, before I even get into that, let's take a break.
Really, I beg to differ with you.
How do you mean?
You're the top.
Yeah?
You're an arrow color. You're the top. You're a Coolidge dollar. You're the nimble tread of the feet.
And we're back. So I find this with the queer community a lot, where anytime a queer story comes out, stage, film, TV, whatever, usually there's immediate happiness that we are getting one, and then immediate criticism that it's not representing enough people in the community.
Sure.
And no story can ever represent everybody. The hope is that you get enough stories over time that everyone gets covered at some point.
Yeah.
But you don't realize that until you take a step back and look at the big picture. Now, with musicals, especially Broadway musicals, the unfortunate thing is that the Latin community is underrepresented. So there just aren't a lot. And so there is this unfair microscope on In the Heights of like, well, it's not covering everything. It's like, well, first of all, nothing can. If it's a good story with well-developed characters, that is the number one thing that matters. And then hopefully that story will inspire people to write more stories. Right. That is how it's supposed to go. Like with Lynn saying, I love West Side Story, but I didn't see myself, or I didn't see people I knew in it. And I wanted to create something that did that.
Yeah, that he could also be in.
Absolutely. And he did. And now the hope is that someone watches In the Heights, likes it, and is inspired to write from it, saying like, I love In the Heights, but I didn't see myself on stage.
Yeah.
I would love to see myself on stage. Here we go. I mean, even if you hated it and inspired you to write, like no matter what, like if it inspires you to create something, that's all that matters, right? Because it's the more stories we have, the more stories we have. And that story could be the thing that connects with somebody else.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like what I'm hearing is like the lack of representation can be almost seen as a tool or like like a sparking of creativity.
Lack of representation for me should be a motivator for people to create more representation, not to sit and yell about it, because that.
Well, I think both can be true. As someone who is not a writer, maybe that's limiting myself. Maybe I should take it upon myself to create that work for myself when I don't see, the right facets. But, I still want people to feel comfortable using their voice.
Conversation, absolutely. When I talk about yelling, my high school health teacher, Mr. Sagona, said, when you start shouting, people stop listening. Conversations happen. And he was talking about that with like a relationship, right? Like the moment you start to yell, your partner's not going to listen to you anymore.
Sure.
Because then they either get on the defensive or they start to drown you out. And legitimate concerns and open, honest conversations are super helpful. But the moment you just go like, I hate it because this, I'm like, well, okay, what am I supposed to do about that? The show is made. It's up there.
Right.
What can we do about it? Do we want to have another show made? Something that goes into a totally different direction?
Yeah.
Because we can do that. What can we do? How can we keep moving forward? Because we can only keep moving forward. It's why I get mad when people try to look back on older shows and try to rewrite them. I'm like, some shows just can't be saved. Some shows are very much a product of their time. We let them, sit in, a glass box and we look at them and we go, wow, how weird 1947 was. And some shows actually do manage to last longer than we ever would have thought. Some shows find a way back over time because history does repeat itself.
Absolutely.
But if we try to take a show where it's like, well, I love 5 of these songs, can we just, cut out all the stuff that's, that's unfortunate about it so we can make it, survive today? I'm like, no, I don't think we should. I think if the show makes you uncomfortable and you want it done, show the things that make you uncomfortable because it can show us how far we've come. Right. And it also can be a litmus test for audiences, because if you put in front of an audience again and some people go, yikes at that moment, and then some people go, I don't see what the problem is.
It is okay. Nice to see. I mean, you don't want to erase our history. It is nice to know, not nice, but it's interesting to see the shows where we've come from. Yeah. And that's not something that I would never ever want to demolish or abolish. There are shows that I agree with that maybe shouldn't be done or shouldn't be done by specific people. I don't think I don't think an all-white high school production should do Miss Saigon, or even, wasn't there a production of In the Heights that Lin got pretty peeved with?
Probably.
That was like an all-white production of it?
Probably. I used to intern at Music Theater International, and my first 2 summers I would respond to inquiries from people who were interested in doing MTI shows. And one school in Arizona asked if they said, our students really want to do Hairspray, but we don't have enough black students. And they go, can we do this where the characters who are supposed to be black, are wearing purple t-shirts, and the cast who's supposed to be white characters are wearing blue t-shirts. And I wrote back and I said, are you asking, is it illegal? I said, because technically speaking, it is not illegal to do that if you're not changing any of the words. I said that is my technical answer. Okay. And then I said, however, I would like to ask you why you would want to do Hairspray if you don't have those students. Because I said race is so important to the show. It's part of
its DNA.
It's in the DNA. It's the identity of those characters. I said I really urge you. I urge you to just not do it.
Yeah, because there's so many shows that are written for you, for that school. It was a school, correct?
It was a school.
Yeah, there's so many shows. There's so many shows that they can do, and it sucks that they don't have enough black people that they could do Hairspray. That sucks, but the fact of the matter is that they don't, and they can go ahead and do Oklahoma.
It was one of those things where I was like, I'm so thrilled that your students love this show and would love to do it, but sometimes you just can't have the thing you want because you don't have the resources. And maybe this is a moment to look at your school and go, okay, maybe this is a larger problem than we realize, and we should maybe expand the diversity of our student body.
How do you do that, though? Because for one,
I have many ideas, and I'm not going to I'm not going to say a single one. No,
okay.
I have no ideas.
Because I was born in West Palm Beach, and I was raised in a school where everyone was just white, you know, and I was one of few people of color that was a part of that school, and that school definitely did productions of shows that they should not have done, and it's tricky, it's hard to say, expand your reach, try to get more people, but in a school that's predominantly dominated by not people of color, it's like, how do you do that?
Well, there's just no overnight solution is the number one thing, and I think that's what bothers a lot of people. Everybody wants some overnight solution. I mean, I can't speak to any other schools. I'll just say I'm in the New York City Gay Men's Chorus, and having a larger outreach into more diverse boroughs and trying to diversify more of the chorus has been something that they've really worked on in the last couple of years. And it's tricky because they've been trying, and you could argue how much they've been trying or how successful they've been trying, but like sometimes people just are not interested. Sometimes there's just a long history of your organization or your school that has troubled those communities in the past, and they've made them wary of you and don't trust you.
Yeah,
which is fair, and it's something. And we talked about this, just now, about looking back at other shows and saying maybe we don't do the show anymore, or like we acknowledge the things about the show that are troublesome, and you can't erase what happened, right? You can't erase your past. You can't erase your fuck ups or your mistakes. You can acknowledge it and use that as incentive moving forward.
Sure.
Right? How do we use this to change our future? And some people don't think that's enough, but to quote the most in-depth and nuanced Pascal score, it's never enough.
Which one is that?
Never enough.
Oh my God, is that The Greatest Showman?
Sure is,
Which
baby.
is, I think, coming to Broadway pretty soon.
Is it?
I know a little bit about it, but I can't speak to it because I know who is working on it. I know where it's being taken place.
Okay.
But I'm not going to say anything more.
Okay.
But
Philippe knows things.
I know just a little bit. I'm not in it, but
Okay.
I know something's coming. But also, I want to tell you something. I did get you a present.
What?
Yeah, and I went downtown to get it.
Okay. He's reaching inside his bag.
Are you doing anything tonight?
Am I doing anything tonight? Oh!
Are you realizing the lyrics of what I'm saying?
You owe me a bottle of cold champagne. That? Yeah.
So this is for you, for inviting me on the show.
Thank you so much.
But I wanted to keep it within the spirit of In the Heights.
Are you calling me?
I don't know if you drink, though, is the problem.
Oh, do I drink?
Yeah.
Yes, I drink.
You have a cup right there you can pour
I
it
do.
into.
Would you like
If
a little
wanna
bit
drink
as
on the
well,
job.
Philippe?
Sure.
Great. Tyler.
Can we pop it?
I think we
Do you
can.
want to pop it, or should I pop it?
You can pop my champagne.
Is this the first? Has anyone ever drank on the show with you?
Not for years. Can we get Philippe a cup, please? Oh! Bam! Oh, and he blew on it,
Not
too.
on my white pants.
Guys, this is becoming a very sexual episode of Broadway Breakdown.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Daddy.
You're welcome, sweetie.
I'm just surrounded by daddies trying to get me drunk. So we should probably talk more about the actual show.
Yeah.
We've been talking about like legacy. We've been talking about the theme.
But speaking of, champagne, I mean, this is a great way to segue back to it.
Absolutely, yeah, champagne.
The bottle's all sweaty and everything.
Sure is. And you got that gold shit off
I did pretty easily.
pretty easily. That is some great stage business.
To off Broadway to Broadway, L'chaim.
L'chaim. To being
I'm gonna keep it with me.
to being daddies in training.
It's so sweet. But you still think of me as a daddy.
Even though you're younger than me.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
In the Heights.
In the Heights, yes. Okay. Favorite song in the Heights?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh God. So Paciencia y Fe. It's pretty good. I don't know why. I mean, I'm a sucker for things that can make me cry.
Sure.
Because I love it. I love crying so much, and I love just feeling emotion, especially in musical theater. Paciencia y Fe. And then the finale always gets me too. Yeah, I'm a street light trucking in the heat. The world spins around. Whatever. I mean, I think that's the opening.
That's the opening,
rap,
yeah.
But
It's the same rhythm.
it's the same rhythm. And I also really love Carnaval de Barrio. It's an amazing representation of everyone in that show. And I remember when I saw it, or when I was in it for the first time, again, I wasn't really in touch with my culture at all. Granted, I mean, I would go to Puerto Rico every year for summer, but I wasn't that in touch with it. But doing that show immediately made me download Duolingo. And I bought Rosetta Stone.
I have
and
Rosetta Stone. I need to get back into that.
I gave it up real quickly. And I still don't speak a lick of Spanish. But I tried.
You did
For
try.
a whole summer after doing In the Heights. I really wanted to to be in touch with being Puerto Rican. And my dad was like, please, my biggest regret is not teaching you Spanish. You got to learn it on your own.
And then you did the bare minimum.
I did the bare minimum.
Like a man.
Yo quiero Taco Bell is probably all I know.
Oh my God.
Please hire me, Lynn.
So if we're talking like for me in my life, objectively speaking on a piece of musical theater writing, I think the opening number is as good as any opening number out there.
Yeah, that's great.
It's pretty fucking great and introduces every major character except for Nina, but she is mentioned. So we know that she exists. And because she's our other protagonist, it's important that she kind of gets her own separate entrance after the opening. But I mean, otherwise, it introduces every single character, sort of who they are. It's energetic. It's fun. It's funny. I mean, I guess the only thing is that
it has like a bit of I want for everybody.
Yeah,
for just about everybody, but for Lynn,
for Vanessa, we understand that like Benny wants to sort of do more, and there are a lot of details.
I was thinking about Benny's I want on my way here, and it was really hard, but I think I got it.
Which is,
well, everyone's position, everyone's arc pertains to home and what they see and what they envision home being. And then I listened to the song that he sings to Nina, Benny, and he goes, everything's easier when you're home. And he loves where he is, but for when he's around, he just wants her to be included in that because, I don't know, it's just lighter for him.
Well, so Benny has tangible goals. He wants to,
excel in his career.
But he doesn't want to necessarily leave where he's at. He just wants to be successful.
I think he's a family man.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, no, he's definitely a boy you take home to Papa.
Yeah. But not Kevin, because Kevin hates him.
Well, Kevin's racist.
Yeah, right. Yeah, just a little.
So fun fact, people.
But a lot of Puerto Ricans are.
Yeah. Well, racism doesn't just mean white people. Like anyone can be racist. It's a bias.
I'm so ashamed sometimes when I go to Puerto Rico, and you can just like how people in Puerto Rico speak about other people of color that aren't Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
It's so sad sometimes to hear. And it's like, that's where I'm from. And then like you go back and you just hear some of the things that people say. It's just,
well, we were talking about Evita before we went on mic. And the thing about Evita in the country of Argentina, I don't know if it's like this anymore, but it definitely was like this when Eva Perón was alive, was the lightness of your skin. Not just if you were Hispanic and were white passing, but like if you were legitimately Caucasian, you were considered like far much the elite. Because a lot of Argentinians come from European descent. So there are a lot of Caucasians in Argentina. And for a long time, that was sort of a class distinction. They talk about that in Once on This Island, which is a plot line that gets cut anytime white kids do it. But, the lightness of your skin, referring to your class system. So racism abounds with everybody, just like sexism abounds with everybody, homophobia. Like no one is more homophobic than the queer community, guys.
Yeah.
Just putting it out there.
And it shows with Kevin and Benny.
Yeah, absolutely. Mask for mask, honey. Fun fact, did you know that there used to be a queer character in the Heights?
Yes, it got cut, and I heard that it's being done in New York, New York.
The Lincoln character, yeah.
Is that the drummer?
So Lincoln in the Heights in the early developments was Nina's brother. Who was queer in the closet.
Okay.
And he was there was a love triangle because he kind of was in love with Benny. And that got cut a few years later.
And he was a musician, I think?
Maybe.
Okay.
Yes, I do think they repurposed the character of Lincoln for New York, New York, and then obviously made tweaks to it. Because the character in New York, New York, it's Angel.
Is that the character's name?
I think so.
I saw a few months ago, so I'm not too sure with the names.
Well, you saw it a few months ago, but you just got out at the curtain call yesterday.
What do you mean?
Because she's long. She's the long show.
Oh, it is. Oh, you're right. Yeah.
She's a long show.
It was long.
That's always been my joke. Anytime a friend has seen New York, New York, like, oh, I'm going to go see it. And then I wait like 9 hours after the curtain goes down and I go, oh, so did you just get out?
Yeah. I mean, I did. I loved it, but it was long.
I did not love it, but it is a long show. But no, so I think the character's name is Angel. Angel. Sorry, I am Jewish, so I should be able to do that.
Yeah.
The Mordechai.
Try it again.
The Mordechai's Angel.
That's good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Duolingo. So, but so Lincoln was like originally a queer character that they eventually cut. I know that's how Javier Munoz got in. He was auditioning for Lincoln, and then I think ended up playing a different character. Basically, Lincoln got repurposed into Sonny. because there was no Sonny originally, because Lin was the original book writer.
Right.
It started as a project he did sophomore year at Wesleyan, and was a musical he wrote there, and it was 90 minutes and very well received. And Tommy Kail was a Wesleyan alum at that point, and among with other Wesleyan alums, kind of came up to Lin and said, would you consider developing this as a full musical with the intention of it going to Broadway at some point? And Lin was like,
Oh, yeah.
He's like, excuse you, I'll get fucked by a chainsaw for that.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's a Heather's quote.
It's heavy.
fuck me gently with a chainsaw.
Just listened to that for the first time.
Heather?
Recently, yeah.
Have you ever seen the movie, though?
I had seen the movie. That's with Winona, correct?
It is Winona.
It is Winona.
It's-
She is
Heather's.
Heather is Winona.
Yeah.
I saw it for I listened to the album for the first time maybe a month ago on a road trip, and I should have listened to it sooner.
Yeah, it's fun. She's poppy.
I love it. I love just musical theater like that.
I wish it was a little
bop on everything.
I wish it was a little darker, but the show's not as dark as I want it to be, because the movie's dark.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's fun. It's similar to our color palette here. It's very bright, colorful, and then talking about getting fucked by chainsaws. That is
Heather's.
Yes. So I think
movie, at
yes,
least.
I was originally leaning into my Barbie era, but I think my Barbie era is just Heather's. Bright and colorful, but dark and twisted inside.
Yeah, I see that for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Heather.
oh God, I'm a Veronica if ever I was anybody. Come on. I'm not any Heather. I'm not blonde or pretty enough to be a Heather. I'm a
Pretty.
Veronica.
You're not blonde, but you're pretty.
I'm not pretty.
Come on.
No, I just have body dysmorphia, but it's fine. But that is gay. To be,
What?
To have body dysmorphia.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, you eat a single chip and you think the whole world can notice.
Well, you look great.
Thank you. You look great too, Kim.
Thank you.
But so we were talking about the opening and the Lincoln and all of that shit. But Benny comes in with the details of Benny is he comes in, he gets his Milky Way at 8 a.m, which is choice. But
Yeah, weird, right?
But he has
I get a
daily,
bacon, egg, and cheese.
I know.
Ketchup and salt and pepper, but
And I have air because nothing tastes as good as Skinny feels.
I love that.
Real though, imagine how it would feel going real slow down the highway of life with no regrets and no breaking your neck for respect or a paycheck. For real though, I take a break from the wheel and we'll throw the biggest block party everybody here. It's a weekend where we can breathe, take it easy.
They added a character for the movie too. Or the girl from Orange Is the New Black.
Yes, Kuka.
Is that
That's her character's name.
Really?
Yeah, they named her Kuka.
Oh.
I know. And she does absolutely nothing other than just like
She just is there, and she has some of the lines.
They were like, we need a Peggy, and they made her Peggy because Daniela and Carla, is that her
Daniela
name?
and Carla, yeah.
Yeah, they're the ladies who run the salon, and they added Kuka, but she doesn't bring
And
anything
I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, there is someone from Drag Race
in the movie.
in the movie.
I think somebody who works in the salon or attends the salon was on Drag Race. I don't know who. Don't ask me.
And it's a pretty popular person.
Possibly. Oh,
Valentina.
Valentina. Yeah,
Was
Valentina.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's in the movie for like 5 seconds, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot about that. That movie, I've seen it 3 times because for me in movie musicals, I usually have to see them more than once to finally decide if I think it's good or not.
Okay.
I tend to love most movie musicals the moment they come out.
Okay.
Because I'm just so excited to have them.
Which ones don't you like?
Oh, a lot. I think a lot of the ones that came out in the last 20 years are bad.
Okay.
Or not as good as we thought they were.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of the movie musicals that have come out.
So
I think is a perfect one though. That perfectly encapsulates the musical very well. Is the Producers musical, the movie musical?
It captures what makes the show work, but I don't
Just
think...
because of Nathan, the people from the original show.
I think the Producers movie is objectively a bad movie because they were so concerned about capturing what made the stage show work that they didn't think about making it work as a movie. I only say that as, again,
because it already works as the Gene Wilder movie.
Yeah,
You know?
And they're both very different in the stage show and the original movie. But the list is shorter of movie musicals of the last 25 years that work. Chicago is perfect.
It is perfect. I think it's better.
Than
the musical.
It's different for sure. I prefer the movie.
Okay.
I just saw the stage show again for the first time in years back in March because Jinx Monsoon went in.
Yeah.
And my mom loves Jinx Monsoon.
Yeah.
So we went to go see her. And, we went on a night where the cast gave a shit, and it was a full
good.
house, and everyone was respectful, which isn't, I'm sorry, that's not a mean thing to say. Everyone knows that, like, that cast of Chicago decides day to day whether they're going to give a shit or not.
It's hard. Yeah, I'm sure being doing it. I mean, it is hard, just baseline, doing 8 shows a week. But it, at the end of the day, is your job.
No, 1,000%. And I talked about this with PJ Adsma as well. Like,
I saw that. I love that.
You, like,
care about your... What is it?
It said...
There was a quote you said that I loved.
Thank you. I said, I've seen people get too comfy too soon in a show. And he's like, but don't you want that? He's like, but keep giving me the sauce. And I said, get comfortable in your life, not your art.
Yes. And I saw that, and I was a bit, like, scared when I first saw that you said that quote.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, my God, I hope I don't do that. Like, I hope, like, as an art... Like, you never want to be the type of artist... Because we've all seen that. We go to Broadway shows, and our biggest pet, at least mine, my biggest pet peeve is when someone goes off into the wing and you can see them die before they get off the stage.
Yeah.
And I never want to see that. I never, like, granted, 8 shows a week is fucking hard.
It's really hard.
But I still want to know that that it's alive for you.
Chicago is a tricky thing because a lot of shows, when they start running for a very long time, become a machine. We saw this happen with Phantom. We see it happen. We see it happen with Chicago.
Wicked.
Even with Wicked, yeah. And then you try to cast people who are special but also can do the thing, and when you're in a show you really want to make it special for you, but at the end of the day you are doing moves that were not tailored to you. You are making staging choices, blocking choices that were made years before you ever got there, and you have to work,
assuming you've been replacing.
Yes, exactly. So for example, let's say you're, I don't know, like you're Go to Hell Kitty in Chicago, and you are the 20th Go to Hell Kitty that's going into Chicago. That show has been running since 1996. Every creative decision made on that show was made 27 years ago.
Yeah.
No one on that team has gone back to be like, let's freshen this up a bit. I know for a fact that, a lot of people on that creative team would come in sporadically to give notes, like every couple of years, really. I know Joe Mantello doesn't really go into Wicked anymore. Every now and then he will. But like Hal Prince went into Phantom like 3 times a year to give notes.
That's great.
Huge, especially for a show that ran that long. Until he died. And then he was giving notes till he died. But so, you come in and you want to make it unique for you, but ultimately all you can really do is go, okay, this is what I've been given. How can I justify this for myself?
Yeah.
The story, I told this on, I think it was the Spelling Bee episode, speaking of Evita, I think it was, and the money kept rolling in, Mandy Patinkin had to get from stage right to stage left at a certain moment, and he didn't know how to do it. And Evita was another show where like 90% of that show was blocked before that Broadway company got to it because it transferred from London. It was something that Patty talked about a lot. She was like, I hated being told what Elaine Page did.
Yep.
And she was like, I tried to make it work for me. And so Mandy Patinkin, in this moment in the show, he's like, I don't know how to get the stage left. And Mandy's young and he's from Juilliard and he's crazy and he's hopped up on cocaine because it's 1979. It's what it was. That was the Gatorade of the 70s was cocaine. And he's like, okay. Well, I don't know, like Hal's not paying attention because Hal didn't really pay attention that much to actors in the rehearsal process. So he did like a big grand jeté across the stage for a big fuck it.
Yeah.
And Hal Prince was like, yeah, sure, keep it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I think that's my issue sometimes with transfers and then with replacing. I've been a part of, I'm still starting in my career. I've only really been a part of, every production I have done has been a production where I am doing something that someone else has done. Yeah. Including Juliet.
Yeah.
They had a UK production.
That's one.
Aladdin, I originated the tour, but it came from the Broadway production.
Yeah.
Then Into the Woods, they had their Fiasco production here at the Roundabout.
Which was a transfer from Fiasco.
Right. And while there always is a bit of leniency and you are allowed to be yourself and bring yourself to it, there is a sense where you have to it is hard to get people to be surprised.
Yeah. It's so,
meaning creative teams sometimes.
Yeah. And because sometimes when something just works, you're like, well, we can't change this because this works. But you're bringing a whole new batch of people in and you gotta be receptive to that. You know, you're a different Frankie than the man who originated in London. But it's a balance. It's definitely a balance. But my point with Evita is, Mandy does that grand jeté, and then that became the staging forever. And all these chays were like, why am I doing?
What the fuck am I doing?
Yeah, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And it's just because, Mandy did it. It's like, well, now I got to do it. I wonder how that worked within the Heights, because that show was in development for so long, and certain actors were part of it very early, and roles were sort of tailored to them. But then people kind of came in later, and you just wonder. Like, I mean, Chris Jackson basically is Benny. He was attached to that show since 2002, so
Right.
he was a part of it for 6 years when it came to Broadway. And every Benny after that, there are things that no matter how hard they try, it's just a Chris Jackson thing.
It just lives in someone else's body more honestly than it does someone who comes and replaces.
Yeah, and certain roles, just vocally speaking, will hit easier for certain actors than others. I mean, we're going all over the place, but welcome to the pod. Dreamgirls is a musical, which we talked about before recording. Also did workshops, like full on, like ad-libbing improv workshops with the cast and the creative team. And Loretta Devine, who some of you will know from Grey's Anatomy, icon that she is, played Laurel. Her voice back in the day was insane. Like the notes she could hit, just like as if she were farting out an F.
Yeah, it makes it harder for other people to come in and replace.
To the point, like they actually had to lower some of Laurel's stuff later on because they realized, they're like, oh, not everyone is Loretta Devine.
And I just want to say that there is this connotation, and we were talking about Wicked too, and the pressure that it comes with being an Elphaba, but there is nothing, in my opinion, wrong with having to come in and like changing a key, changing notes, opting down. I don't know what it is, but like there's this thing in the theater community where it's like, oh, well, if you can't hit that note, well, some people can't hit the note.
Yeah.
Some people can't do that, but as long as you're bringing the storytelling to it, in my opinion, as long as it's as honest as possible, like I don't care what you sound like.
No, you're not wrong. It's the reason why it's become such a thing. And I hate it, but I get it. Art is subjective, right?
Yeah.
Like we're sitting here saying nice things about In the Heights, and I haven't gotten to all of my notes yet, which I have them. But I also
I'd love to hear them.
Well, I also want to talk about them in reference to the movie because I have a lot of issues with the movie.
Okay.
For everything, there are a couple things about the movie that I think are incredible, and
Me
then
too.
but then
There's one big thing I don't like about the movie.
There are a lot of things I don't like about the movie, but one thing I will say about them, I think they cast the movie really well, but which is not.
They did, yeah.
That is a very. I say that with a lot of meat behind it because I think there are a lot of movie musicals that are not cast super great. There are very few. There are very few movie musicals the last 25 years where I'm like, I don't really have a weak link in this cast. Chicago's one where I'm like, perfect, everyone in it, fire. And there's really nobody. There's one cast member in the movie version of In the Heights where it's not that they're bad, I just don't think that they're up to snuff of everyone else. And we'll get to that in a second. But it's also not this cast member's fault because a lot of the meat of their material was cut.
Are you talking about Sonny?
No.
Okay, because I know Sonny, the character from the movie to the musical, or reverse that, it's very different.
It's very different. A lot of his stuff is cut. But no, the actor playing Sonny is very good. It's I'll stop beating around the bush. I will tease why, but I'll say who. Nina. I think the actress playing Nina in the movie is not as dynamic as I would like her to be.
Okay.
She's a little reserved. Sounds great and is, a beautiful individual. I would brush her hair if she asked me to. But also a lot of her material is cut or given to other people. And that's another conversation.
Blackout is what I can think about.
Yeah, the argument between her and Benny is given to Vanessa and
Yeah.
Usnavi.
Which I like. I like that moment too, but I do miss.
Well, it's you build the head of the horse and the legs fall off. We're like, okay, you have deepened the relationship between Usnavi and Vanessa, but you've now actually cut off the knees of the Benny.
Which
Nina.
I think in the musical was much deeper than the Vanessa Usnavi thing.
Oh, we will get to that.
Yeah.
But how do we get here? We're talking about
Movie musicals.
Oh, and storytelling and singing. So art is subjective, but people can objectively go, well, you hit that note, or you didn't hit that note. It's in the way like, with sports, it's, well, so-and-so has a batting average or so-and-so ran this fast or, you're the best at this in an objective way. And it's really hard to say what's the best in art, right? And the truth is that, nothing is like the best. And even things that can be objectively perfect maybe aren't as great as other things. Greatness is never perfect, in my opinion.
Yeah. I don't want to watch something perfect.
No. But, the only thing that there are very few things that are perfect that still give me like joy, give me an adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
Again, the Chicago movie, it's pretty perfect. There's one thing, and it's not a problem so much as I'm like, okay, they were on a budget in 2002, which is when in the opening when Roxy and Fred Casely are running across the street, and you see that subway car above them that's so clearly CGI.
Oh, no.
It looks like Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Oh no!
But I'm like, yeah, no, whatever. It's a budget. It's fine.
Right.
They had $5, but you know, you watch these like compilation videos on YouTube. It's like, which alphabet hit it best? And it's just because, you know, no one can say who acted it best, because there are people who work as actors who I do not like, who I do not find believable or exciting, but I know a lot of other people who do.
Yeah.
And it's like, how can you argue?
There's
right?
never going to be a final answer.
Yeah.
And that just, you can see that within the comments
Yeah.
itself. Everyone disagrees. And I think it sucks for the people who sometimes are in that position where
Yeah.
they're being compared to the other person.
Sure.
But I think art is made for that. I think there is a beautiful thing to the fact that there's many different people that can play the role.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it is special that we can sit here and be like, well, how does this person compare to this person? Even though like there also is that shitty element to it too, right?
Yeah.
That we're comparing people to people.
Yeah.
And that only makes us more insecure about what we do as artists.
Sure. I think comparisons are unavoidable. They're always going to happen, especially in something like theater where just one role is going to be played by a lot of different people. I think the healthy way to do it, where people maybe don't feel like shit, is rather than say, I like this person best, is saying like, here's the energy that this person brought to this role that I really gravitate towards.
Yeah.
But people don't love to say a ton of words, right? We now live in the Twitter thread sphere where it's like 100 characters or less.
Right.
And even though brevity is the soul of wit, it's not necessarily the soul of insight. Oh, that's on the
Is that a new
t-shirt.
clip?
That's a new clip, everybody.
Love it.
Fuck. Sometimes I say shit and I just go, oh, wow, we made a point today.
Did that fall out?
We're not talking about her. Oh, God. Give me more champagne. I'm just going to say all the things today.
Woo! Go for it.
Also, I love that we have Elaine right on the top of our pile right here.
Elaine Stritch?
Elaine Stritch.
Rest in
I'm
peace.
still here. She's resting in power, that cunt.
I saw her one-woman show years ago.
At Liberty?
No, just the video.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't there. But
I watched that video many times.
it's great. It's
great.
perfect.
I mean, half of it are lies, but they're brilliant lies.
Yeah, I mean, that's what all theater is, right?
Yeah.
We're lies.
Yeah.
We're all lying on stage.
In the Heights, total lie.
Yeah, never happened.
None of it ever happened.
Yeah.
Vanessa, don't know her.
Yeah, who?
I also say the Act 1 finale of The Club into Blackout is an incredible finale as well.
It is. It's great.
Sorry. For anyone who doesn't know In the Heights, for anyone who is an uncultured fuck, Philippe, what is In the Heights? What is she about?
It's hard. I mean, I think it's multiple people's interpretation of what home means to them. But yeah, it's about In the Heights.
What's the plot, baby?
I don't know. People ask me this question all the time. If you ask me for Anne Juliet, I couldn't tell you. It's about multiple people living in the Heights, all wanting to better their lives in some way.
Mm-hmm. So we have Usnavi, who does what?
Usnavi, he lives in a bodega, or not lives in a bodega. He has a bodega, and he dreams of home, his version of home, which is the Dominican Republic.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a part of him wants to go back there and relive he romanticizes home a lot, and he romanticizes his parents a lot. And I think he just like wants a piece of his past to come to fruition.
Well, because in the show, he was not born there. His parents moved, I think, when mom was pregnant with him.
Oh, right?
Because that's how he gets his name, right?
Father said Usnavi. That's what we'll name the baby.
Yeah.
So it's past tense. So yeah. So they didn't have him until maybe she was pregnant with him?
Yeah, I think Usnavi's mother was pregnant with him when they immigrated to America, because they were passing by a ship, and on the side of the ship said U.S. Navy.
Right.
And the father saw that and he goes, oh, Usnavi. We'll name the baby that. It's a great joke. In the movie, I think he's like very young, like 3 or 4.
Okay.
But because Sonny was born there, but was a baby when they immigrated. And that's like a whole plot line. They added that Sonny is an illegal immigrant.
Because his father too is Enrique Iglesias, I think.
Not Enrique Iglesias. That would have been hot. No. What's his face? He used to be married to Jennifer Lopez.
Oh my God.
Mark Anthony.
Mark Anthony. Yeah. So So what is the idea that that Sonny's parents came?
Yeah, so I think this is one of my problems with the show is it's very vague about everyone's history with each other.
Sure.
And everyone's ages as well. Like Nina, we know for a fact is 19. She's just come back from her freshman year at Stanford.
Uh-huh.
And through context clues, we get that Vanessa is a childhood friend. She's known Benny and Usnavi as well since she was a kid. How old Usnavi and Benny are is still up for debate.
I've always thought they were early 20s.
So yeah, I've always I've pictured it as Benny and Usnavi are probably like 22.
Yeah, in the movie they read a little older. I
Yeah.
mean, even in the musical they all read a little older.
But the thing is, Nina, no matter what, Nina still is 19, right?
Okay.
Because she's come back from freshman year, so she always has to be 19. So everyone else's ages have to kind of be in relation to that.
Sure.
So like maybe Vanessa's 20, 21, but I think Vanessa is supposed to be about Nina's age.
Sure.
Because they talk about, how they knew each other when they were kids. They make that joke where after No Me Diga, which is another great number. I love it so much. I gotta say also, someone who fucks hard in the movie is Daphne Rubin Vega. She is.
Oh, which one? Who?
She plays Daniela in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
She pisses all over that soundstage.
Oh, she's great.
She's
They're
great.
all great. That whole
I know, but I want to give credit to some people
Where it's due. Yeah.
And it's due. It's due to Daphne.
I'll give it to her.
Daphne's due. Okay.
Gorgeous Linda, tell me something I don't know. Vieja sucia cabrona, tell me something I don't know. A little off the top, a little off that side. A little bit of news you've heard around the barrio. Tell me something I don't know. Bueno, you didn't hear it from me.
But when Nina announces at the end of No Me Diga that she dropped out of Stanford, there's a moment, it's not on the album, but it is in the show, where they're like, that girl never flunked anything. And Danielle's like, well, she never even got a B. And Vanessa goes, she got a C in gym class once, and I had to talk her off the fire escape. Yeah. Which I'm like, okay, first of all, getting a C in gym class, that does not...
It's not that bad.
No one cares.
Pretty sure I got a C in gym class.
I got exempt from gym class because I went to Broadway Dance Center once a week, and I was like, that's my exercise.
Oh, that's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's one of the benefits of living in New York and going to BDC. Yeah.
Jealous.
Listen,
Florida versus New York, man. I'll take New York any day.
I mean, Philippe, one of us is on Broadway.
That's true, but you never know.
It's true. You never
One
know.
day,
We
you
do.
know?
So, as I said, like that's kind of one of my issues with the show is some of the backgrounds of everyone. It's a little murky and not. I'm sure to Chiara and Lynn, it is very defined, but to those who do not have like the Harry Potter index of like background knowledge of everybody, you
Sure.
watch the show and you're like, okay, wait, so what's the relationship to so and so?
Yeah.
And so it's something the movie tries to define a little bit better, but of course the problem with that is like the more information you get, the more questions you then have.
Yeah.
So it's for the best that the show makes it a little vague.
I think the one thing that I missed from the musical going to the movie was how late they bring the lottery to the table. We don't find out about the lottery until Paciencia y Fe, which in this case is not in the first 20 minutes like it is in the musical. It's the very end where Abuela Claudia dies.
Yeah. Well, so okay, that's a whole thing. Okay, so let's talk about Abuela Claudia then, because I will also say that's something that bothered a lot of friends of mine with the movie.
But it's weird because I still, despite that change, there was still something about it that really worked. Like just the song in itself.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the performance.
That's the power of music.
Right.
Lynn's score is so good, and it comes so much from the heart. My hot take is like I think Hamilton is objectively a better piece of writing. It's tighter, it's clearer, it does a lot of really incredible things. But I prefer the score of In the Heights. Mm-hmm. I find it more exciting, and again, the heart of it is just like so undeniable. But there are things in the movie that they change that then just don't make sense anymore. Mm-hmm. So Abuela Claudia is, like kind of like the neighborhood grandmother. Abuela is grandma.
Sure.
It's one of the first things we learn about her in the opening number. She's not really Usnavi's abuela, but she practically raised him because Usnavi wasn't an orphan growing up. His parents, we are to understand, were alive, but they have died since then, and he's still relatively young. So, like, Abuela is the last piece of family he really feels like he has. And she also was sort of a semi-grandma for Nina and the whole block. And all of Act 1, she is just sort of presented as this very sweet woman, very kind, very caring. And we learn in 96,000 that Usnavi's bodega sold a winning ticket. And the winning ticket is $96,000. And everyone, there's, again, one of the most incredible numbers. It's so good. And a very good, Tony number. And it's actually one of the numbers in the movie that I think they fucking nailed.
They did.
They nailed that song really
Didn't
hard.
change much either.
No, it's the writing is pretty much exactly the same.
Yeah.
They cut Donald Trump and make it Tiger Woods, which is, that's bueno. Yeah, chef's kiss. But,
Talk about abolishing history.
but everyone's dreaming what they would do with $96,000, and then we go straight from that into Paciencia y Fe.
Yeah.
And there are two phrases that
In the musical.
In the musical, yes.
Right.
There are two things that Abuela Claudia is known for saying in the show, which is Paciencia y Fe and Alabanza. Part of the reason why, one of the things they actually changed in the movie is she never says Alabanza. She's never said it. And in fact, so when in 96,000, when they're talking about when it starts to build and Sunny starts to go 96,000. No me diga, alabanza.
Yep.
I never win shit. In the movie, it's different people as they're heading into the pool. But in the, remember,
I know.
And then in the musical, though, the first person Sunny says it to is Abuela Claudia, and the first thing she says is "Ay, alabanza," and then it's to Daniela and Carla, "No me diga," and then to Vanessa, "I never win shit."
Right.
I prefer that because it still keeps it tight knit and the neighborhood and the community, right? It's as much as in the Heights as Washington Heights is this large part of Manhattan. We're still kind of really just dealing with this small block of people,
right?
And all the people we know, and everything they say connects to what we know about them. Daniela and Carla are known for the song "No Me Diga." So, "No Me Diga." Vanessa, I also love the cadence of Karen Olivo's.
I never win shit.
Yeah, I never win shit. It's just, certain line deliveries on cast albums are.
But now you've got me thinking. Is Abuela Claudia acting in that moment? Because by that point she would have known.
I don't think she knows that she won yet.
Okay.
I don't think she knows. Because she's not in 96,000. I think she says "Ay, alabanza," and then she goes back into the building, and then she discovers that she won.
Oh, so she bought it, hasn't scratched it yet.
Yeah. Well, I don't think she's checked the numbers. I don't know. I don't know. The truth is I don't know. And this is one of those things where, like, the book of In the Heights has always kind of come under scrutiny. Mm-hmm. Even we were talking about this earlier. When it opened and people loved it, even the people who loved it were like, listen, the book's not amazing. Mm-hmm. It's fine. But I think because the score is so dynamic and different, everyone wanted a book that matched it. And the book is just sort of, it does the job. It tells the story. It does the job. It gives you everybody's stories. But, like, no one's stories is all that compelling on a, like, dramatic level. It's more that you eventually just start caring about the people, so you care about what happens to them. So even though their stories objectively, you're not like, oh, what a fascinating turn of events. It's more sort of like, oh, I love Abuela Claudia, and so what we find out in Paciencia y Fe, as she lets out the only way that I can describe it is like it's a diva number from the last character you ever would expect to have a diva number.
Ay, mamá, the summer's hottest day. Paciencia y fe. Paciencia y fe. Ay, carajo, it's hot. But that's okay.
Which I love. It gives you a facet to a character that you have always thought of as this one thing. And it's all culminating in the third act reveal of her song that she won. She has the winning ticket. Mm-hmm. And the tragedy of it is, she's lived such a hard life, and there's been a lot of joy. She's had to find joy in a lot of her life, but it's been very hard. And it's only in the third act.
She hasn't had a lot of wins in her life.
Not wins that American society would consider wins.
Sure.
Wins that she has had to convince herself are wins. Mm-hmm. this is an objective win, and she's won.
She doesn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, it's because it's in the third act of her life. She's so much older. Her mother's dead now. She has no other family, so she's like, what do I do with it? Who do I keep the money? Do I spend the money?
I can't make anything now.
Yeah, I'm so old now. Like I can't start a business.
Not to say that the older generation can't make things.
No, but also it's $96,000, especially in 2008. Like it's a good chunk of money.
Yeah.
It's not so much money that like
it's gonna, you're gonna be set for the rest of your life.
Yeah, she can't buy an apartment in Manhattan and be set. Like it's who knows. And it was
enough to start something.
Exactly, but she's too old to really start something, or at least for Abuela, for her life, she is too old to start something. Right. Not that her age objectively is bad or anything like that, but for her life specifically, it's a little too late.
Sure.
And we know this to objectively be true because, spoiler alert, she passes away 24 hours later. Because she also has a heart condition. It's hot, and she's not taking her medicine. And the movie...
I forget how they structure it, but from what I remember...
Paciencia y Fe happens...
The lottery isn't like really that big of a thing.
It's not. Because they do 96,000 and then they never bring it up again.
Right. That's kind of what I was missing. And that lottery shapes a lot of people's storyline.
Yeah.
Moving forward. Like, it's the whole reason why Usnavi decides to leave, and then like...
Yeah, it was because Paciencia y Fe is moved into the blackout in the movie. It happens after the club blackout number.
Okay. Oh, because it happened like towards the very, very end.
Well, so Paciencia y Fe happens in the middle, and she dies at the end of Paciencia y Fe.
Right.
But I don't believe they reveal that she won the lotto
until the end.
Yeah. Or
I'm pretty sure that's right.
Yeah. It's been a minute. One thing that did bother me about that song is that Lin did not change some of the lyrics for it.
For which one? Paciencia y Fe?
Because the whole point of it is that she loves to feed her birds. Okay. She loves to feed the birds. And the number is an inner monologue as she's feeding the birds. And it's a big beginning. Calor, calor. A friend of mine who has worked on the show, he did not like how they did it in the movie because he's like, calor means like, it's hot. Like, she's so fucking hot. And it's a big, bold declaration, and in the movie they make it this soft little calor, calor, and she goes into her dream number. That doesn't bother me so much, but it bothered him, and he's like, I've worked on the show.
Who's your friend? Gotcha.
We'll bleep that out, just because I don't think he wants me to reveal that. But
no. I never asked that question.
No. What I will say is I have a lot of Broadway friends, and they do like to come to me with their hot takes. Because I'm sure you've seen this, like online and publicly, it's all very like handholdy. We love each other. We support each other, which is great. We love to support, but also we love to hold each other accountable. And like not having a positive reaction to somebody's work isn't a crime. And we know how hard it is and how vulnerable it is. So you want to be considerate, but you also don't want to lie when you have the opposite feeling of what you're saying publicly.
Yeah.
And I only say this because like, every time I do like an Ask Me Anything on Instagram, people are like, are you concerned that you write reviews on Instagram or you have the podcast where you're pretty open? Like, are you concerned that's like going to get you in hot water? I'm like, no, because I try not to be a dick about it. And like everyone has opinions.
Yeah, you're allowed it for sure. I mean, you're allowed to speak your mind. And I think, again, we're bringing it back to art and being subjective.
Yeah. And I always know that it's just my opinion. And so I try to lead with that. And understanding how difficult it is, I'm never like, it's never a Wendy Williams death to all of them. It's just no. I just try to be.
And that's the fun part about it. I feel like we've disagreed on a lot of things just from this conversation alone, and I think that's kind of like what's fun about.
I have no memory of you disagreeing with me once so far.
I disagree with everything you say.
Oh my God.
I'm leaving.
Oh my God. Well, you disagreed with me saying I'm not beautiful. You said I am beautiful. That's Muriel's wedding. I'm beautiful. But no, so I say that because, people in the community, obviously, like, there are things that they don't like. And I know this because they will all come to me to be like, I didn't like this. Can I talk to you about it? I'm like, yeah, sure. Half the things, but I think they always come to me thinking that I'm going to be like, yes, bitch, it's garbage. And sometimes I'll be like, I actually like the thing you don't like.
Yeah. And I think that's great. It's like, it's not like, you never want to be like a source of just hating something for the sake of it. I don't think that's what any of us want. I think, it's speaking your mind is important to art, and saying the things that you respond to and don't respond to are equal in that way.
Sometimes it's very fun to be bitchy. as we said with our carb denying Laura Osnes, but it's just more that like that's sort of like a fun bile to get out sometimes, but we never really stand by it. I prefer open, honest discussions about things we like and don't like, because I think that's what ends up leading to better art. Because as an artist, when someone doesn't like something you do, it's a moment where you have to kind of sit and reflect and go, do they have a point? And if you think that they might, that's great. And you can use that in the future. If you think they don't have if you think they are incorrect, you can stand further by your work and be more convinced of what you've done.
That's hard. Especially as an artist, I think people have very different views on how they take reviews or critiques or other people's opinions. And I'm still new, and I'm still trying to figure out what it is how I specifically take criticism. But I think at the baseline, as long as you're trusting what you're doing, and this sounds so hitchy, but like, I think that's all that matters. Of course, other people's opinions matter, and they're valid, and they can help inform your art moving forward. But if you disagree with it and stand true to what it is that you bring, because, again, I don't expect for what myself to do, for what I do on stage to be relevant to everybody.
Sure.
And I don't necessarily want it to be either.
No. Well, first of all, again, we said this before, name me a single person or work of art that is
universally liked.
Exactly. That's if the only thing people can agree that mayonnaise is white and bland, So if everyone can agree that such and such is good, congratulations, you're the mayonnaise of art.
Yeah.
Who the fuck wants that? I don't want to be 95% hated. I would like to have a larger number than that.
Sure.
But and I think that's sort of, criticism is hard to take. You have to be in a mindset for it. But I think the number one thing to recognize is before you get to any criticisms about you, and I've gotten some criticisms back when I still acted, I was told in a review that my averageness worked, which was,
hey,
that is,
at least it worked.
But before that, they said his performance is colorless, but due to the characters around him, his averageness works. And I was like, okay, you're trying to you're recognizing that you don't think I'm bad, but also you don't want it to say I'm good. So it was one of those things from
But there's also a line, especially with reviews today. People sometimes it just seems like people are trying to be mean.
Yeah, because journalism is dying, people need to be relevant, and so clickbait becomes the thing. And as a reviewer, it's like, well, how do I write the soundbite that people will share? It's Jesse Green's review for Bad Cinderella. What we all remember is his opening lines of that.
What was it again?
He said, "You bring earplugs, bring eye plugs, and if you can, bring soul plugs." Which it's one of those things where, is it accurate? I don't know, but we remember it, and it's a little mean-spirited. The line I'll always remember is Brantley's opening review for Little Mermaid, which was, loved the shoes, loathed the show, because they were on wheelies. And he goes, okay, I exaggerate. I didn't love the shoes. And it's bitchy, but it is memorable. And it's not an insightful criticism, but it is something to remember. But if you are receiving criticism, the first thing you have to check is, does this critic understand what it is I'm trying to do? Because if they don't understand it, like if they're not on board with what it is I'm trying to get with, then everything else they say doesn't matter, even if it's positive. It's like, there's that book about the Follies process when they were making Follies called Everything Was Possible, and they're out of town with it in Boston, and the critic in Boston who had loved Company hated Follies, and Sondheim wasn't bothered. He was like, he didn't even really get Company. But he loved it. He's like, yeah, that review meant nothing to me. He loved it, but he didn't understand the point of it. And I was like, oh, okay. So it's interesting. Like it works both ways, right? Like a positive review can mean nothing if you read it and you're like, oh, I'm glad you liked it, but you didn't get it. But so first, and especially when you're giving people criticism, make sure you know what it is the person's trying to accomplish. And then you go, okay, how did I feel about it? And does anything I say, positive or negative, help them trying to achieve what they're trying to achieve? And I've had friends in shows, and afterwards we talk about it. And before, when they ask for my opinion, the first thing I ask is well, tell me about your journey with it. Like, what is it that did you feel about you today? How do you feel about the show? And then I can tell you what I thought, because I'm only going off of like basic first impressions.
Right.
Which, internet doesn't love that. Again, they want the 100 characters or less.
Sure.
But everyone has, a journey. Everyone's the protagonist of their own story. And if you are coming in with something that's not beneficial to them, you are labeled as an antagonist. And there are like 5 people in this world that I want to be the antagonist towards. So I try to be insightful, which brings us back to the Heights. Well, just in the sense that everyone's got a story and a journey. But so Abuela Claudia, has this story that we don't know about until we have Paciencia y Fe.
Yeah.
And we learn about her immigrating as a young girl with her mother and being a maid on the Upper East Side. And the anger she has in that song is so palpable. And you're a little taken aback by it until it's revealed that she has the winning ticket. Mm-hmm. And then it just sort of becomes this like ticking bomb for the rest of the show of like, okay, what's gonna come of this? I think what kind of makes it frustrating is it doesn't pay off as much as we hoped it would.
In the movie.
Honestly, in both, because
for who though?
She decides to split the money with Sonny and Usnavi.
Usnavi, yeah.
But then, spoiler alert, Abuela Claudia dies.
Sure.
We never really learn what happens with her share of the money. Usnavi offers it to Nina to help pay for college, and we'll get to the Nina of it all in a bit. But she rejects it, and so whatever happens to the money doesn't get revealed. And Usnavi decides he's going to use the money to go back to Puerto Rico. To DR. Nina's family's from Puerto Rico. He wants to go back to DR, and it's only in the last 3 minutes that he ends up changing his mind. Mm-hmm. So that we just never really know what that money's going to end up going towards, which doesn't.
It doesn't. I don't know if it necessarily matters.
It doesn't. I'm just saying, like, as a ticking bomb of this being a vital piece of plot line, it doesn't end up.
It was a tool to almost test Usnavi.
Sure.
And his I guess I don't want to say dedication to the Heights, but let's say dedication to the Heights.
Dedication to the Heights.
Sure. I mean, it was a chance for him to live out what he thought was his dream until he realizes that his dream was the street light, was the bodega, was the corner, was the fire hydrants, was Summer in the City, which in my opinion sucks, and I don't know why everyone loves, but people love Summer in the City, and so does Usnavi, and like I think to him, like, that's he discovers, like, even though he's not going to where he thought home was for him, which is he equates DR to his family. Even though Abuela Claudia isn't his true family, it's almost like his chosen family. Like, Nina's a part of that. Kevin's a part of that. Sonny literally is that. And so he was able to find home for him, despite having half of 96,000 under his pocket to do with whatever he pleases. He still decides to stay where he is because that's where love is for him.
Yeah. That's the thing about the finale, that I wish it was just a little bit longer, because it is a very quick turn in the end. It makes sense.
The grate, right? The grate comes down.
When they bring down the grate, and it's a tribute to Abuela Claudia with Paciencia y Fe. And in that instant moment, that's what makes Usnavi change his mind, which is totally fair. We've had those moments where, like, in an instant, we make a very big decision about ourselves. When I was watching it yesterday at the library, and I was like, oh shit, there's like 3 minutes left of the show. I was like, I forgot that this all comes together very quickly at the end, which is, it's not that I think it's a flaw. I just wanted like 2 more minutes
to tie.
Yeah, just a little bit more of everybody. It's one of those things where, and again, because that show is a lot of plot lines, some bigger than others, it does feel like not everything is wrapped up, or some things are wrapped up a little quickly. I don't know what I would do, is the thing. Like, I say this with nothing else to come forward with, which is why I'm very, like, half-hearted about this critique, because ultimately, like, the ending is very moving on a just emotional level. So it's more me just kind of coming in with my microscope, being like,
you want the epilogue. Is what you want. You want to know what happens.
Well, well.
No, maybe not that, but you want to see you. I mean, I know what you're saying. I feel like you just want to see everything tied up a little more.
Okay, so I'll put it this way. This is how I'll describe it. And I say this because I know Lynn loves the show too. The ending of Les Mis
Okay.
ultimately comes down to a final scene of Valjean, Cosette, and Marius, right? Like it's just the three of them. And it's just a very intimate, not expansive, but like it's a good chunk of time with the three of them, and it's wrapping up the main plot line of Valjean, right? And it works emotionally, it works storytelling wise, and Fantine is sort of like hovering in the background, and it gets that big final ending with all the ghosts doing the "Do you hear the people sing?" rousing anthem, and it reminds me a bit of In the Heights, where like it starts as this small intimate moment that ends with everyone kind of singing together, but for some reason with me and Les Mis, like I don't feel shortchanged by how it ends, even though like for 3 hours we've had these like long journeys, and then it all kind of gets wrapped up with this letter with Valjean. But it's, and I see parallels to the two, and I don't know why Les Mis I have fewer notes about in that ending than I do within the Heights. I can't tell you. Don't ask me again. I need you to stop badgering me.
Yeah, well, yeah. I'm sorry.
But it's one of the, and I don't know. I feel like it's a compliment to the show though, where like it's not that I feel it's bad or even underbaked. I just want a little more.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times?
I think that is a compliment. And you want more.
Yeah. How many times can you say that about a show? You're like, I just want like a couple more minutes.
Yeah.
Just a couple more.
Never.
Yeah. But I think also because like, I don't know, like the Nina plot line, for everything about it that I like, I also don't feel like it's as well defined as I want it to be. I actually do think it's better in the musical than it is in the movie. I don't know. The movie defines her journey better, but I like her journey more in the show.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you?
It does. I mean, she's someone who has to live up to these expectations put upon her by not only her parents but the whole world. Even Benny in the song that he sings, "You were all gonna brag and say we knew her." That's everyone in the world thinks that she's going to be this big hotshot, and I don't know. That's a lot of pressure to put on someone who doesn't even know who they want to be yet.
Yeah, but she sings so high.
She does, and she's so pretty.
She's so pretty. We expect so much of her ingenues.
Yeah.
If there's anything we've learned from Barbie. So we can talk about Nina now. I feel like the thing I'll say, I feel like we've talked about the show in like pockets throughout this whole episode, but like I'm trying to make sure that we like get in some of the depth of it.
Yeah.
Nina comes back from Stanford, her first year at Stanford, having dropped out because she lost her scholarship because her grades fell, and her grades fell because she was working 2 jobs to pay for things because her scholarships only covered so much, and she had too much pride to call up home and be like, I need more money, because she already knew how much her parents were working.
And I think a part of her also knows that they would have given up everything.
Yeah.
Which puts, I think, even more pressure on the problem.
Because the problem isn't just my parents are working hard and I can't, ask them to work harder. It's she now has to become so successful to justify everything that everyone has given up and invested in her.
Yep.
And that's enough to make anyone crumble. And on top of that, leaving for Stanford, I mean, I don't know what her mindset was when she left for Stanford, but we are to believe that she left being pretty exceptional, or exceptional for her community.
I buy that.
Yeah. And was probably confident in herself. And who knows whether Stanford, with her getting there, if she had the opportunities to study as much, like if she would have come up to snuff at all. Did you ever watch Gilmore Girls?
No.
I'm just batting zero with you.
I'm sorry.
Well, no, but one thing I liked about Gilmore Girls is a tricky show, and I don't recommend the whole series, but the first season in particular, Alexis Bledel, the big storytelling inciting incident of the pilot is that Alexis Bledel gets accepted to this very prestigious academy in Connecticut. And of course, Lauren Graham can't afford it, so she goes to her parents, who she's estranged from, for the money. And they agree to it for the other strings. But once Alexis Bledel gets there, she actually starts to struggle a bit, because she was the big fish in her small pond at her public school, and she goes to this other school where everyone is smart, and everyone has had all these advantages, and it takes her a minute to adjust. And she does eventually, and she succeeds. But I appreciated that the show gave her that transition, because that happens to a lot of people, and there's
Yeah.
and there's nothing wrong with failing, and also there's nothing wrong with having trouble transitioning. And
I think also they do, because we don't get to see any of it either.
Yeah.
We're told most of it, and most of the time I feel like I need more from that, but I feel like they do a really great job of letting us know the context in which
we get a lot of
she lives in.
Yeah, we get a lot of details about it, which I appreciate. We learn, that she was working the 2 jobs, she was struggling, she didn't have enough time to study. She wasn't failing, but with the scholarship, you do have to have a certain grade point average to keep it. So who knows if it was like,
I thought she was, because I thought there was an instance where like she couldn't come back for a certain reason. I know that she lost her scholarship.
she lost her scholarship, and then I think she went on probation. And then she then she decided to go on leave of absence rather than continue to struggle. So she wasn't expelled. She didn't technically drop out, but I think she came back home with the intention of dropping out.
Yep.
The difference between that and the movie never implies that Nina struggled financially or academically. What the movie implies is that she got to Stanford and basically just encountered racism 24/7.
Oh.
And that was enough to make her go, fuck this. She says like, oh, my first week or there, I got searched because my roommate lost her pearl necklace, and so they searched my dressers and all this stuff, which that bothered me on a couple levels. One, I was like, well, first of all, yes, that's awful, but also that's protocol for any college. When your roommate's stuff goes missing, the first person they check is the roommate.
Right.
In the same way where like when a woman goes missing, the first person they suspect is the husband.
Yeah, or boyfriend, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, I know you're very pretty, Nina, but also like you're not special in that respect. Like racism does exist, and especially at Stanford, but like in that respect, that is protocol for every college.
You find her other reasonings for leaving more interesting.
Well, I find her reasonings in the musical I find more interesting for sure, because in the movie the problems are not her, it's everyone else. She gets to Stanford and everyone else is the problem. And whereas in the musical, she questions if she's the problem. Yeah. Was I actually ever smart? Was I actually ever good?
Am I capable of living up to
it's
other
already
people's expectations?
It's so much already. Am I even worth that? And then I can't maintain all the other plates I have to spend.
And even in the musical, I really thought the racism thing was just there inherently. Even without even having mentioned it, because you go to Stanford, you're a person of color in the Heights, having to like work your. That's amazing, So I kind of already felt that.
Well, she talks about in the show when she's talking to Benny. I think it's right before the "When You're Home" number, and she said like, "There's a whole new vocabulary out there," and he goes, "Such as what?" She goes, "Well, weekend is a verb," and she goes, it means to go to skiing at your cabin. She goes, and cabin means mansion. And she doesn't say it with anger. She finds it funny, but like it's funny in the sense of like, obviously it made her feel like
imagine
shit.
that life.
Yeah,
like,
it made her feel like shit.
Couldn't be us.
Yeah, couldn't be us. Made her feel like shit when she was out there. But I think also maybe because she's thinking it's not my life anymore. I can laugh at it. But yeah, you can definitely tell that she encountered it for sure. Also, just again, racism is everywhere. You encounter bias everywhere, whether you're a different ethnicity, gender, sexuality, religion. It's everywhere.
The radio plays old forgotten boleros. I think of the days when the city was mine. I remember the praise, I te adoro, te quiero. The neighborhood waved and said, Nina, be brave and you're gonna be fine. And maybe it's me, but it all seems like lifetimes ago. So what do I say to these faces that I used to know? Hey, I'm home. Mira, Nina. Hey, no me preocupo por ellos. They're not worried about me.
I think that Nina is not a dum-dum about the world. And she talks about this with her parents. And like, what do you mean you had to work 2 jobs? She's like, it's expensive.
Right.
She's like, it's not just this. It's not just the tuition. It's not just the dormitories. It's the books. And like, not only that, like she's living in California. It's going to be more expensive around Stanford, like to buy food.
Yeah.
And these are things that maybe she didn't think of at the time, but she got there and got a crash course in that reality very quickly. And she doesn't apologize for her decision to want to drop out when she talks to her parents, and she's very upfront about all the things that were difficult. And it's not a woe is me, rather than like, I got a crash course in reality out there. She's like, let me tell you what I learned. Thinking that her parents are going to be like, we get it, let's recalibrate. But rather they go, no, this is what's going to happen, which makes it tough in another respect for her, right? Because it's you're sharing a vulnerable side of yourself to people you love and care about, who you know love and care about you, thinking they're going to understand. And when instead, rather than saying, we get it, let's figure it out, they go, no, we don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also easy when you're a parent, not that I am one, to want the best for your kid, and you hear Stanford, that's the best for my kid. We know how hard you've worked for this. We're not going to let you give up just because of lack of resources, lack of money. Like, I think from their perspective, they're like, well, anything we can do to help, we want the best for our kid, and we want you to succeed. And we want to see you succeed. We made you. Yeah. It's so easy for a
Quite literally, we made
quite literally, yeah.
We cooked you in a lab, you dumb little bitch.
Oh my God.
You think you're gonna just drop out with us having a say in it?
No, it's too expensive.
I am Priscilla motherfucking Lopez. My child is not a failure.
A very sweet woman.
I'll bet.
Very kind.
Diana Morales. No, and that's sort of the tricky thing with parenting, right? And we have been seeing this a lot more lately of, you don't want to be a dictator. You don't want to be a helicopter parent. You want to be understanding, but also you don't want to be a pushover. It's like, how do I create a kid that is empathetic and smart and understanding, while also tough and a fighter and a hard worker? Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things where Gretchen Rubin talked about this in the book, The Happiness Project, where like she learned how to talk to her kids when they were younger, a little late in the game, but she figured it out better. There's no foolproof way to talk to children, but she learned better. Like when her child is upset about something, she doesn't kowtow to them in the sense of like, I'm hungry, and you're in the car. It's like, well, we're not going to be home for another hour. So it's like, we can't just pull over and be like, okay, sweetie, you're hungry.
She tries to handle it logically, like an adult.
Yeah, what she says, the first thing she says is she repeats what her kids say to her back to them. Mm-hmm. She's like, I'm hungry. I understand. You are hungry. It's like, here is the reality. We can't get out of the car right now. We're 45 minutes away from home, and dinner's going to be soon after that. Like, I understand you're hungry. Do you think you can hold on? Like, it's like, I'm hungry too. Can we just hang on for a little bit longer? Instead of being like, shut up, like, we're going to eat later or anything like that. Yeah. Or like, or sweetie, yes, we'll get you food. And I do think.
Are you saying that there's not enough? And this is not a writing critique. I think it's more just like flaws in being a parent. It seems to me that Kevin and Camila don't acknowledge her problem as much in the beginning as much as a parent maybe.
It's good writing. The arguments they have is actually one of the better. I think the Nina Camila.
I think it fucking rocks.
I think that dynamic is great. I'm more talking about this on a human level, like as we talk about it as human beings. Mm-hmm. I think that their response is very realistic and justified. They're thrown a curveball. What do you mean everything we invested in and sacrificed for, you're giving up within 5 seconds? And it's not only that she's leaving, it's that she went on leave of absence in March, and it is now July. Mm-hmm. They are finding this out now. There's nothing she's telling them there's nothing you can do about it. Which is
already done.
It's already done. I've done it.
And it goes back to Kevin's song, feeling like, not capable, not feeling useless, feeling not enough.
Yeah. That's the moment where he decides that he's going to sell the business.
It brings me to tears every time I see it, because it's just like it's a parent who like wants to feel capable and wants to know that like they're leaving their legacy in good hands. Yeah. And that they can do everything that they can for their child. What's the last word? I will not be the reason my family won't succeed. Like, that's it. He just wants his family to like live and prosper.
And when he gives up the business, when he sells it, there's all this talk about, what about all of your employees? And about, you called us all family. He's like, no, that is business. This is my family. He goes, and I am sorry. This is a hard truth. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, my daughter is what matters the most to me.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry if that upsets anybody, but it is the truth. And now let's have some fucking dinner.
Yep.
And I get that.
I do get it too.
Yeah,
It's hard because like you're seen as the bad guy in that
Yeah.
situation, but like he's just it's family. His family comes first.
Yeah,
you know?
people overall want to be liked. They want to go where the love is, but there are just hard truths abound for all of us, right? And I think it's something that Nina's struggling with her journey, and she's also 19. Fun fact, her brain's not fully formed yet, which it's so weird to think about because we think of Nina as Mandy Gonzalez in the show, and Mandy Gonzalez was very clearly not 19.
Sure.
I mean, everyone in that original Principal Company was way older than their characters.
Yeah, late
ages.
20s, I'd say.
Yeah, well,
I don't know. I'm just
I
guessing.
think Chris Jackson was 32 when he did the show. Lynn was in his late 20s. Karen's late 20s, early 30s.
Sure.
Mandy, I think, was 30s. Like, and then they read older. I mean, they didn't read like the Grease movie, 45s playing 18-year-olds, but they didn't read 1922.
Right.
And I think they were all so good in their roles that I don't begrudge them, but I do think audiences who maybe had issues with some of the character storylines forget how young those characters are because the actors playing them did not read as young. And I think that's important to know. Same thing with last 5 years, we think of Norbert, Leo Butz, and Sherry Renee Scott. Those characters are 22 when they're 22 when they meet. I think they're 27
in the
when they divorce.
bootleg that I saw, they read a little older.
Yeah, no, they were both in their early 30s, I think, when they did the show.
Yeah.
Those characters meet in their early 20s and divorce in their late 20s. I mean, he says in Moving Too Fast, he goes, I got all this and more before 24. Moving Too Fast happens when Jamie is 23.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And so, best case scenario, it's 22 to 27. Maybe it's 21 to 26. Who knows? But youth is definitely a factor in these roles. Most shows where characters are extraordinarily messy, the characters tend to be on the younger side. And we don't realize that because we tend to cast older actors. I think Blanche is supposed to be 40 in Streetcar, and she's the oldest character in that show by a mile.
Yeah.
Maybe 35. But, like Carousel, everyone is like 20 years old. And that's important. That is important.
It's hard, too. I mean, today it's different. I know there was a question of, again, 8 shows a week being really, really hard. But today it's different. Today I feel like you see all sorts of ages doing 8 shows a week successfully. And I don't know how it was back then, 2008. I'm sure it was fine. But also at the same time, I wonder if it makes sense to cast people, because we know that Lynn's going to be in the show, right? Does it make more sense to cast the young people to look more like Lynn's age so it can all look even throughout? Or do we cast according to the actual legitimate age? I don't know. I think it's an interesting question, and I feel I like the way that they did it because sometimes you can tell when things...
That's how Olga ended up becoming Abuela. Because she was originally Camila in, I think, Connecticut when they did it at the Eugene O'Neill Center. But they couldn't find an actress of the actual age of Abuela who could sing the role. Because Paciencia Fe is a bitch of a song.
Yes, it is.
And they eventually went to Olga and they were like, we know you're like 30 years too young for this. But like, if we put you in a wig, do you think you could do it? And she could. And so they tend to cast Abuela younger and then age her up, because I do think that's something that maybe Lin in his youth did not realize. A role of Abuela's age, most women that age cannot sing Paciencia y Fe with the vigor that you will want.
Yeah.
Their instrument is just not there in that respect anymore. I think Patti LuPone might be the only 70-year-old woman who could probably
Is she 70?
I think she might be 70 now.
She could have done it.
30, 40.
She's white, but she could have done it. But I'm weird. I'm maybe not weird, but I think today I am tired of seeing people who aren't Hispanic playing Hispanic roles, and because it's such a limited amount of representation that we get, especially even today. We talk about representation, and there is, and it's growing and it's getting better, but there's still groups of people that I couldn't tell you, people of mixed race.
Yeah.
There's nothing for someone who is of mixed race, and people argue, well, it's like, they can play anything. I'm like, but they shouldn't. They should have something that's representative of what it's like to be a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Because
it's just such a, again, these things become conversations, and nobody wants a conversation. They want a clean cut answer, and they want an easy.
But it's not. It's great, and so is casting.
I know. Well, and
you're not allowed to ask what ethnicity you are when you're in an audition.
And then you go into like the revival territory, and it's like, well, people want to just say, oh, it's the best person for the job, which is totally true. But ethnicity is important because what you bring to the table is your life experience with it, and any role you cast with someone who might have been Caucasian the first time and cast with a non-Caucasian actor this time, you have to ask yourself, what does this do to the dynamic of the show? And it can bring a whole wonderful new dynamic. Yeah. But it is something you have to think about. It's color conscious, and we've seen it not work in the past because people just are going like, well, no, we don't see race. We cast the actor. I'm like, okay, but now you've you've accidentally created a dynamic with these two characters in the show that is now incredibly problematic. So you did something you have to think about and ask yourself, what does this do with the text? In the same way where you do not cast a Jewish pretty boy like myself as Usnavi, because that is just not the role. Yeah, no. That is not the dynamic. I will absolutely be the one white bystander who just walks. I want to be like the one white person who just has no lines in the show and just walking around all the time being like, yeah,
there's white people in the Heights.
Sure. Yeah. I want to be that one white person during Piragua who does not buy the Piragua.
What a dick.
Well, because I just have no cash on me.
Sure. They don't have Venmo in 2013.
They don't. I only have my debit card. Yeah, it's so difficult
being
me.
They don't have the QR codes yet.
Do you know how difficult it is being skinny and pretty? I only have my debit card.
I couldn't know.
Yes, you do. You're
skinny, pretty.
I'm sorry. One of us was cast for our looks on Broadway, and one of us has a podcast where you famously don't show your face.
Oh, wait, this isn't.
No, we're filming it. No, we're filming it. Hi, Grandma. But not all of this footage goes up on a podcast. This content is for the socials and for the Patreon, which everyone subscribe to the Patreon.
I will.
Patreon is different from OnlyFans, Philippe, just so you know.
Oh, fuck, never mind.
Oh, on that note, let's take one last break.
Billy, I beg to differ with you. How do you mean? You're the top. Yeah. You're an arrow collar. You're the top. You're a Coolidge dollar. You're the nimble tread of the...
And we're back. Vanessa.
Yeah, she's a character. She's in it. No, I love Vanessa. Elevated train by my window doesn't faze me anymore. I know she wants to get out, and I know she's a fashion.
In the movie, so the movie, they make her interested in fashion. She wants to be a fashion designer. I forgot about this.
Talk a little bit about what she does in the musical. She does hair.
She just does hair. And it's something that I actually kind of like about her in the musical. So I forgot about this. In the stage show, she lives with her mom, and her mom's an alcoholic.
Okay.
We never meet her.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
So because she has money in a box in her closet that she's going to use for the down payment of her apartment. We're like, okay, sure, whatever. And what you find out before it won't be long now in the musical is Con Edison's about to turn off the electricity in her apartment. Jokes on them, the power is about to cut anyway for everybody. Right. But you find out it's because she gave the money to her mom to pay the Con Edison bill, and her mom drank it away.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's because it's not we never meet her mom. It's not a subject that's explored much, and it's one of those things where like it's one of the few moments of the show where you go, oh, this is kind of a heavier subject matter, but because it's in the Heights, they actually still treat it kind of lightly.
Yeah.
Because it happens off stage, and it's mostly spoken of through Daniela and Carla, because Vanessa was going to ask Daniela for an advance of her paycheck. Daniela says, "What is my rule?" And Carla says, she'll support you, but not your mother's dysfunction. The joke originally is, she goes, she won't support your mother's malfunction. And then Daniela goes, dysfunction, Carla.
Right.
And then what ends up happening...
coming back to me now.
Yes, and then this part does happen in the movie where Daniela ends up becoming the... not the...
Guarantor?
Yeah, the guarantor on Vanessa's lease. Because Vanessa has shit credit, but Daniela has good credit. She's a business owner. She has a company, and seems to pay her bills on time, which is why she's moving to the Bronx rather than lose her credit. She'd rather go someplace where the rent is cheaper and, maintain. So she's her guarantor, which gets Vanessa the apartment. But but that is why Vanessa wants to get out. Is she wants away from her mom, but also, you know, possibly new neighborhood, new start. But she has no other plans outside of that, which I think is
that we know of.
Yeah, that we know of. But I also think that's kind of realistic. Sometimes it's more about like I don't have. It's you know, Charity Hope Valentine has that line.
Sometimes it's time for you to just be on your own.
Yeah, well, and it's that line in Sweet Charity, and there's got to be something better than this. Charity's like, get me out, and they go, well, what can you do? She goes, I don't know, just get me out, and I'll figure it out later.
Yeah, and that's a very typical trope in musical theater. Like, get me out, of here.
Yep.
Find me to get out of here. You know, it's like very.
What was that?
That was supposed to be Seymour and Little Show of Horrors, you know.
Who,
you know, with the hat, we're both kind of rocking a Seymour.
And we're both
zaddy look.
We're both hot enough to play Seymour.
I know.
We're both models.
There we go.
We can play nerdy on stage.
Yeah.
You're playing nerdy on stage.
Yeah, I would say the role has changed so much. He used to be like really, really like geeky, like nerdy. And now I just want him to be more grounded, but like, I don't know.
You show your arms though in Act 2, don't you? They make you do that.
Oh, you mean this thing?
Yeah. He's showing off the guns, ladies and gents.
Yeah, they're there. I mean, they're definitely. There's a moment for him to become like a little more confident, but
people willing to take a big bite out of the Big Apple.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. For me, the anxiety is something that I've always wanted to like make sure is represented accurately in theater, but because I mean, of course, we see a lot of it, but I always think there's more room. People, I mean, we talked a little bit about like wanting to see ourselves on TV and on stage, and like that is something that I want to be done really, really well. I mean, we have like a little bit of it with Dear Evan Hansen, but I don't know why I'm talking about this right now, but
with Dear Evan Hansen,
yeah, you know, he's a guy who has like a little bit of anxiety and it's
and depression.
Yeah.
They're very, very vague about it in the show.
Sure, and it's a hard thing to like do tastefully.
Yeah, I wonder if I'll. So, fun fact. So, literally, the last episode of this, I had said how difficult it was to find someone to cover In the Heights, and so then when I reached out to you and you were like, "This is the one I want to do," I was like, What?
Finally.
But it's so funny because literally the most recent episode, I just said like I can't find anyone. So
I'm glad it worked.
It's so funny that I say that, and the next episode is this one.
The elevated train by my window doesn't faze me anymore. The rattling screams don't disrupt my dreams. It's a lullaby in its way. The elevated train drives everyone insane, but I don't mind, oh no. When I bring back
Her,
they can't tolerate.
I don't know, her song is so interesting to me because she's very specific about her environments, but she's very vague about what it is that she wants, right? You know,
Benny's also like a little bit like that too. I think.
He wants success,
right?
And we understand like that he's expanding his knowledge, and he's working hard at the
96,000 is like a very telling song for everybody's intention,
or
dreams.
Yes, but Vanessa's dreams are always just like I just got to get out of the neighborhood. It's always just get me out of here. I'll figure it out later. So I do like that it is that kind of vagueness. I do find that to be very realistic, because a lot of people are that way about their goals in general. Things will be better once I do this thing, or I go to this place.
I'm in a environment that is conducive to the lifestyle that I want to live, and then I'll find my own way. Yeah,
it's what's so and the only reason I will say that is kind of, I don't want to use the word toxic, but why that is a problem as a person is you think, oh well, no, move to a new environment and you change so much and it'll fall into place. The moment I say, okay, think about this like as a relationship. Once I finally have someone, I'll figure it all out later. That does not sound great, does it?
It doesn't sound great, but I also think they're two different things.
They are in the sense that they're two different goals, but you're still harboring hope of change off of something that is not actually...
Because we don't... I mean, the reason why I say it, because when I think of like relationships, sometimes people go into a relationship thinking it's going to do something for them. And they get into a relationship for the wrong reasons. I feel like ambition and wanting to leave your environment in hopes that it will. I mean, again, we don't know her true intentions. So this is me just making it up. But leaving her environment, if we were just to say to be in a different environment that can help foster the path that she wants to take, might be different than getting into a relationship just because I know relationships make me happy.
But I think that's true still with moving, because how many people do we know who move to LA or move Midwest?
Don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and Vanessa doesn't really know what's going to happen either. She just wants to move, and she's going to West 4th Street literally because it's as far away as possible.
Well, what do we also attribute to like West 4th?
What do you mean?
I think, at least for
gay
me,
lifestyle. You think Vanessa's there to become an icon?
for sure, 100%. No, I think she's there because at least when I'm there, there's a life to it. There's, not to say there's not life in the Heights, but like there's a little bit of money to it too. There's success, even like the financial district. You go there and it's a different energy than it is uptown. And I think not anyone, but people who get out sometimes want to get out for a specific reason. And I've always attributed it to her like wanting to better herself, or like wanting to chase some sort of dream that is unspecific.
Well, sure, but I think everyone hopes to better themselves. And this is not me, like, this is also, actually, this is not a critique of the show, because I think it's very relatable, her character and her journey and her kind of vague ambition, because as I said, this is something that a lot of people have. But I think it's something to be cognizant of as a person watching the show. If you're like, oh my God, I'm such a Vanessa, I'm like, okay, but how good of a thing is that?
Yeah.
Because it's, when people talk about, I'm a Carrie, I'm a Samantha, I'm a Miranda, it's like every character, if they're well written, has flaws to them. So you have to be aware of the flaws. Even those who we aspire to be, we have to recognize the things about them that it's like, okay, but I have to make sure that this doesn't happen to me. If I'm going to become the next Jonathan Groff, I need to not romanticize the past and say all my cast members were wonderful to everybody they ever met.
Sure.
Yep. So with Vanessa, she does aspire for more, and there is something very sweet about the idea of, I just need to get to a new place and then I can start figuring it out after that.
Yeah.
And because again, you think about, I'm stuck in a routine, I have to shift things up, and this is one thing I can do. I can't change my career right now. I don't know what it is I really want to do yet. I can't change my mom. She's who she's always going to be. I can't date somebody right now, whatever. It's like I can change the environment I live in.
And that's a huge thing in like even like self-help books, or like things, like, people talk about that all the time, starting there. And then like,
I think what I mean more about like comparing it to relationships is that alone does not fix it.
No.
It's a change. It's something new, and congrats, you've made it onto the Monopoly board.
But it's an action,
Yeah.
and it can help spark an insight into like the next few steps.
Sure. It's also just for me, as I say this, being wary as someone who is always like, well, once I get that, as long as I'm falling into place. No, there's always work to be done.
Yeah.
But you can also just make the cards stack up for you better than your original layout.
It certainly helps to know early on what it is that you're trying to achieve.
Yeah. If you have any other kind of tangible goals in mind, which is, I do like that they give that for her in the movie.
Yeah.
They develop the relationship between her and Usnavi in the movie more, and they make them the central couple as opposed to Nina and Benny. The change they make to Nina and Benny in the movie that I do not like is they make them a couple before she leaves for Stanford, and she breaks up with Benny because she's got to focus on her studies. Yeah. And then, or does he break up with her? No, he broke up with her because he said, you got to go focus on Stanford. It's very Ryan Gosling to Emma Stone and La La Land.
Yeah,
it
puts a weird thing on it.
Yeah, because it no longer becomes will they, won't they. There's no sexual tension. They've had the thing. It's about
and now it becomes about repairing it.
Yeah, whereas in the show there is this connection that they have that they haven't.
It's unspoken.
Yeah, and they haven't invested in it just yet. And so that kiss in Blackout we've been building up to it. Yeah.
It's nice to see something form.
Yeah, and nothing like that happens in the movie. You know, Benny and Nina, nothing goes down with them. They also have a line in Carnaval de Barrio about how we understand that you and Nina went for a roll in the hay. In the movie, they keep that line, but we never see that they've hooked up in the movie. So I'm like, that joke is lame.
Yeah.
Whereas in the musical, and Act 1 ends with them making the fuck out. Act 2 begins with Benny coming out on the fire escape and Nina coming out in his t-shirt, and we're like, oh, we know
Let's teach you some Spanish, baby.
Yep. Oh, it's a great. That's a great joke.
Yeah, it is.
Where she comes out. First of all, so I saw it off Broadway at 37 Arts. That was the name of the place they were off Broadway, right? Yeah, I saw it off Broadway, and then I saw it right before they opened on Broadway. And the audience response was always four things. Benny comes out in his little tank top, little Chris Jackson tank top, and the audience was like, And then Nina came out in the t-shirt, and everyone just went, ooh. And then she says, do you want to try again?
Yeah.
And everyone was like, ah ha ha ha.
I get it.
He couldn't do it.
Oh.
He couldn't get it.
Oh, that's not how I took it. I thought it was like round 2.
Oh no, because when she says, do you want to try again? She says, I don't think she says, do you want to do it again? She says, do you want to try it again?
It's telling.
Yep. And everyone goes, oh no, they couldn't do it.
Benny.
And then when she goes, okay, and then she begins the Spanish lesson. That's the fourth joke, and everyone laughed at that more. And I'm like,
Yeah.
every time, just like clockwork.
Solid.
Yeah. And everybody loves a good joke where a man can't get it up. It's so much fun.
Except the man.
Except the man. Well, I think we laugh because we're like, what's that life like?
Right?
I'm ready to go every moment. And
Yeah.
I don't see Paula Shaw 8 times a week.
I could never, ever understand what that's like.
He said that with so much emotion on his face. Listen, if I had to play opposite Paula Shaw 8 times a week, I would have no problem.
It's great, man. Having to like listen to him serenade me every day.
Yeah.
He's beautiful. And his voice is great too.
Yeah. And he's got nice swoopy hair. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's very nice.
You sing with Stark too, right? In Act 2? Don't you do the boy band thing?
We do, yeah. But we don't have as much time on stage together as I would like, because watching him do his thing, he's the most playful person on that stage.
Yeah. Well, I guess you spent all of Act 1 saying to yourself, watching Stark, paciencia y fe.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna have my moment in Act 2.
Yeah.
And then in Act
I'll
2
rise out of the floor.
When the show was coming out, there like the detractors for it were very like, oh, it's a try hard Rent, which is just what basic older white gays say when they want to seem intelligent, right? Like, oh, it's the warmed over version of XYZ.
Yeah. And I kind of see the similarities.
Yeah, well,
but I also see the similarities with Hamilton and Rent, Hamilton and Les Mis.
Sure,
every show has
so many musicals have shared DNA. There are some shows where I'm like, no, that is, you are trying to become the next this. Try hard such and such. But within the Heights, I don't really get the Rent vibes. Only like in a way, it can seem like Rent because it's many characters in a neighborhood that is not overly populated by rich white women, and it is a sound
being gentrified. Well,
It's,
that's not a Rent thing, is it?
I mean, kind of. That one is more sort of, if we pay our rent, then we are, and they, Benny wants to build that whole another Benny wants to build that studio building where
It's in the village, right?
Yeah, where rich people can come and pay. And
City, I think.
Yeah, it's East Village.
Okay.
Yeah. The idea is, they are coming, and we can either lean into it or we can fight against it and lose. And some people have.
Benny's kind of like the good guy in Rent. Is he? I'm going to let you live here rent free for a year.
Yeah.
And then you got to pay your rent. Sorry. And they're like, fuck you, Benny. We're not going to pay our rent. You've changed. And they're like, well, I just wanted to be like married and like have money. I still gave you rent for a fucking year.
Benny being the good guy in a way in Rent is like when people say, well, Ursula didn't really give Ariel a bad deal. She didn't lie about it. I'm like, yeah, that's how people get swindled. Like Ursula did not lie. She just withheld a lot of information.
Yeah. It's like getting older and understanding the bad guys a little more.
Well, yeah. And just making you trying to get a little smart about it. Benny's a dick, but he does offer them a solid deal. And
that's what it is.
Yes. And on top of that, like, being a landlord saying, hey, you got to pay rent, that's not evil.
Yeah, no.
And then you also it's trickier because like with Roger and Mark, they come from middle class suburbia and they are choosing to do this and they don't have any jobs to, get money for it.
And then they squat.
They're like, yeah, we're artists, man. But like Roger writes a shitty song. Mark makes a 90-second silent film that's just clips of his friends. He takes videos of homeless people who actually are, destitute because the system is against them. So that's another issue for another day.
Sure.
We talked about this in the Rent episode already. No, In the Heights is also more joyful, and it's not as dank and depressing as Rent is, and which is why I don't find the similarities to really be accurate. But when when In the Heights was off Broadway and moving to Broadway, you can see it on Broadway World. There are people who were paralleling it to Rent negatively. What's funny is that those same people probably hated Rent when it came out. So I'm like, what are we doing here?
Sometimes I listen to In the Heights or I listen to Hamilton, and I just some of it's so brilliant.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
First of all, he's a very smart dude. He's a very empathetic dude. And he's a very talented dude, which is a trio that makes me just want to kill myself. He does a guest episode on Blank Check, which is a movie podcast, and he talks about all that jazz, and he's just such a fun guest. I'm like, God damn it, I'd love to have him on this and just like geek out about a show. I feel like it would be so much fun and could be snarky too.
Yeah,
I don't want people on here if they're not going to be a little snarky.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, from what I can tell about this podcast already, it's fostering a sense of honesty. Which I think
I try.
Well, yeah, I think that's really good.
Yeah. Well,
it's hard in theater to be truly honest about it.
I don't know. We're only on this earth for so long. Why fucking lie if you can help it? I don't know what the point of this podcast is anymore, other than just like trying to have an open field for this kind of shit, because I don't think there's a lot of it. I think the podcast, I've listened to a few Broadway podcasts and I don't like most of them because they're either so fangirly and don't delve deep enough. And I'm like, okay, no one benefits from full on fan service.
Yeah.
Like,
you're right.
Let's investigate. Or they're so snarky and actually kind of dumb because of the snark, because everyone feels like the only way to seem smart is to find the problems with something or to make fun of the thing. And like, well, actually now you're kind of showing a shallowness because you're not digging deeper into what this thing is about.
Yeah.
You just want to make the joke.
Yeah. Or like sometimes people just want to have the smart thing to say.
Yeah.
Too, I typically like it. A lot of things. I typically I go to shows and I want to feel that. I want to feel that.
You always want to like
the
it.
Theater. But yeah, of course there are opinions. I always feel like a bit tentative to share those opinions because you never know who's listening, and you as someone who is a very, I don't want to say insecure actor, but is someone who is precious about what they do.
Yeah.
I always want to try to be careful with the things that I say, not to hide it or not to praise people, not to do the opposite, but to also just take care of other people's feelings, because I know how hard it is to do this thing.
I see what you're doing. That's literally the nomination you got, baby.
Aw.
Yeah, the I See What You're Doing award. It's all very difficult. And again, it's why when we talk about In the Heights and I talk about issues with it that I have, for something like this show, which is a show I do like, it's less of me being like, let me pick it apart. I know how difficult it is. That doesn't negate any issues I have with it, but the issues I have with it also don't make me go like, here's why I'm better than it. I think it's important to recognize the things we love and the flaws that they have, because first of all, they're learning lessons as we go forward making our own art, knowing that we're not going to make something perfect.
Yeah.
But if we're lucky, we can maybe make something great.
And I doubt that Lin thinks it's perfect either.
No.
Yeah.
No, that man is too smart to think that anything he's ever done is perfect.
I mean, and then he immediately went on, not immediately, but he went on to create something that's just as good, if not better, in many different ways.
Yeah, it's so fascinating to me that Hamilton blew up in the way it did post In the Heights, because I mean, yes, I think it is a more mature and intelligent show in a lot of ways, but for that to kind of catch on the way that it did,
it's because it did. It's because of what it did.
Yeah.
Not only that it was smart with writing and how it was directed, but the fact that it put people of color in the forefront in positions that they have never been since the creating of America was very nuts to see. I remember not just hearing about Hamilton, and I didn't hear about the music first. I didn't hear about the lyrics first. I didn't hear about anything. The first thing that I heard was it's people of color playing our founding fathers. not our founding fathers, but the people who came.
Well, some of them are founding fathers.
Some of them. And that to me was so interesting. And that's when I came to New York, was I think the year or two after Hamilton had opened.
Mm-hmm.
And it was weird. Everyone was like, oh my gosh, you're coming at New York at a perfect time. Hamilton's out. People of color are in. And I was like, that's a fucking weird thing to say.
That's weird.
But it was true. For the first time, I was getting auditions for people. I was getting auditions for not people in gangs.
Yeah.
I was allowed to play Seymour. I don't mean to sound pessimistic about it.
No, but I know what you mean, because because those words weren't coming from people of color; they were coming from white people.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, how lucky are you?
And they were mad.
Yeah, they were mad.
They were like, oh, I can't get a job. It's just everything's going to like not us. I'm like, well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
you have to work a little harder and be a little more interesting. Sorry about it.
and it's gonna balance itself.
Yes. Well,
you know?
yes. So I hate to bring it back to Barbie, but I don't. I'm really happy I get to bring it back to Barbie. I was watching. I cannot tell you, first of all, by the way, like how excited and obsessed I am with this movie, and without having seen it.
Tell.
Yeah. But I was watching an interview with Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig on Australian TV, and they were asking, "Oh, is Barbie feminist?" And they took a moment, and Margot said, she's like, no, the doll itself is very feminist. She's like, all you have to do is look at the history. She goes, but we're not talking about the doll right now. We're talking about the movie of Barbie. She goes, and it's very clear at the beginning of the movie that Barbie world or Barbie land is not equal. Feminism does not mean women are better. Feminism is equality. It's essentially being a humanist, right? It's men and women are of the same level. She goes, and in Barbie land, the Barbies have all the power and the Kens have none. She goes, that's not feminism. That's a dictatorship. And she goes, and she goes,
Barbie land,
in the movie,
Barbies have the power.
Yes, they have all the power. And
Okay.
and you see this in all the marketing, right? It's like, she's everything, he's just Ken.
Yeah, Will
That is-
Ferrell's like, we don't care about Ken.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, and Ryan Gosling has the song "I'm Just Ken." And again, I
has a
haven't
song?
seen. He's got a song.
Oh.
I haven't heard it yet because they haven't released it yet. But I have not seen any footage since the trailer that came out in May came out, because I want to hold on to as much surprise as I can. But she's talked about that. She's like, there's no balance. She goes, and in a perfect world in Barbie land, it would be balanced. Kens would have jobs as well as the Barbies.
I know that Ryan Gosling's character Ken has a bit of misogyny just based on a section of the trailer that I saw where he wants to talk to a real doctor.
Yeah. Well, yes. So
That's a man.
Yes. He goes, well, he says, she goes, I won't let you do just one tracheotomy, but I'm a man, but not a doctor. Can I talk to a doctor? You are talking to a doctor. Yes. No, he has that misogyny. From what I understand, from later that interview, when the shift that happens when they go to the real world, Barbie and Ken, is she is objectified for the first time, and she doesn't have, and you see it in the trailer when they're rollerblading along Santa Barbara or whatever that is. She's like, why are these men looking at me? And she doesn't realize what it is, but they're objectifying her. And Ken realizes that he's being viewed.
He has more power.
He's
here.
being viewed with respect for the first time. And so that is where. And so I think not knowing where that clip with the doctor comes in the movie.
Yeah.
I feel like that's happening a little later in Ken's journey in the real world, where he's realizing men have a lot more power here.
So we see in real time the misogyny.
Yes, it says yes. But so that is to say, with diversity in theater and the arts in general, like when there is balance, and less of a pendulum swing, there will be less. I think annoyance, because I've also talked about this, like a lot of casting and whatnot, like people and with theater companies that they look for producing new plays or new works, they are very much having an eye on diversity, which is great. But rather than going, is this work good? What is the overall look of our season? They're just kind of looking at it as a checklist. Yeah, also diversity is not just color, it's age, it's gender, it's sexuality, it's religion, it's all these things. Size, it's ability, and we're having that conversation now to make it a larger landscape. But like, I've talked to someone about like my play, and they're like, well, are you nervous about it getting produced, about it ever getting produced, like because you're white? And I was like, well, yes, but I'm like, but my play is also about the dynamics of sexuality and modern day relationships and how that alters with sexuality. Like, my play has a lot of queerness to it. I'm like, and believe it or not, queerness is still very much diverse. It's part of diversity because we're seeing this in the real world. Laws trying to come into pass that are debilitating us, and it's
stripping that away.
Yeah, I'm like, and I'm like, why shouldn't we? Like, the moment the theater world stops looking at queerness as an important factor to be spoken about, that just will enable more things like this. We are just as important to the landscape of diversity as any other, ethnicity or ability or size, and it's just about constantly thinking of all the scopes, right? Not just that. So like, I'll see a show where I'm like, yeah, no, there's more than just white people on stage, but everyone's a size 2.
Yeah.
Everyone is under 30. I'm like, that's not real diversity. And eventually when you just stop thinking about it and you can just have it all, that's wonderful. It's going to take a long time, but eventually you can have it all. What I love about In the Heights is it does have a sense
You're so good at bringing it back because I feel like I'm the one who's pulling us away, and you're so good at it.
This is the opposite usually of how it works on the podcast. I'm usually like, let's talk about Working Girl.
I'm the problem.
Hi, it's you. You're the problem. It's you.
So In the Heights. Okay.
No, but so In the Heights, like, yes, it is an only Latin cast, but it is of different genders, of different ages. You have the opportunity for different sizes, and I love that. Okay. Give me one song in the Heights we haven't talked about yet.
I mean, of course I want to talk about Sonny because that's my guy.
Yeah?
Anytime I've ever done the show, I'm too old for it now, but that's the role that I played each time.
You could play it at the Muni, where the last row is 9 miles away.
Maybe. But at this point, I would want to be Usnavi.
Sure.
Look, that's the guy, but...
That's the production where I get to be Patrick Page.
Yeah.
I could be the gentrified...
Call you in.
Yeah.
The guy who doesn't pay for Piragua's...
The guy who doesn't pay for Piraguas.
You talk about that song too?
I mean, that's kicking out everybody with his laundry service. Yeah, well, there's not much to talk about Piragua. Piragua is one of those beautiful spices of the show where it's like, it doesn't really contribute to the show in like terms of very...
it's almost like an inside joke.
Yeah, it's not like economic storytelling.
Yeah.
We
get happy every time we see him.
Yeah, we're a stage musical. You're granted a little bit of extra time.
Yeah.
And it's only 1.5 minutes both times.
Yeah.
And it's also like, it's a positive spin because in Act 1, he's struggling. Mr. Softy's across the way, and no one wants a Piragua and they can get an ice cream. But during the blackout, Mr. Softy's truck is broken down.
Yep.
And everyone wants a Piragua. And this is where it's funny, but I'm also like, God damn it, capitalism just gets everybody.
Yeah, sure. It's a comment. I mean, that's true.
He's in demand, and so he hikes up the price.
Yep.
Because he has to keep scraping by, and everybody wants a Piragua. So at first it was 75 cents.
He hikes up the price when the softy machine breaks down.
Yeah.
Correct?
Once everybody wants a Piragua.
Got it.
Also, every time I hear Piragua, I just think of 30 Rock when Alec Baldwin goes out with Selma Hayek and he talks to Tina Fey. He goes, Liz, we went out for Piragua. Have you ever had a Piragua before? It's just like a snow cone, except they call it a Piragua. So hearing Alec Baldwin say Piragua, it's just,
oh my God.
That's a fetish of mine. But so, yeah, no, when everything's gone to shit and everyone wants something cold and he's got the only thing because he doesn't rely on electricity, they all want it. He's like,
nice block, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, here we go. He's like, it's $5.50. Here you go. And I'm like, and again, that is something where I'm like, yeah, no, once people get power, to quote Hedwig's mom, it corrupts. Absolute power corrupts.
Sure. Yeah, I guess that's true. But he's nice about it. And he's fun, so we forgive him.
Yeah, I'll send you roses as I kick you out of your apartment with my gentrification.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's so sweet.
You're welcome.
I like daisies, but that's fine.
Oh, daisies. Honey, no. Who are you, Meg Ryan, and you've got mail?
I played Daisy in Mario Kart, so that's why I'm like very specific to the actual flower too.
I keep forgetting Mario Kart exists.
Yeah, it's a thing.
I don't play the games of video.
It's okay.
Is it?
No, but that's okay.
It's okay. I'm not Mask. I wish I were Mask.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Another life.
In another life, I'd be Mask.
Can we talk about the reason why I want to talk about Sonny so much is, and I would love for you to disagree with me here. In my opinion, Sonny is like the only character who's like kind of in the moment. And
in what way?
He's really happy with where he is, although he wants to change it and better it. Because with the 96,000, he would do everything that he can to give schools computers, and he would fight for all the right things for the community that he's in. But he's happy. Sorry. He wants to foster his community. Not that he's happy with where he is. He wants to change, but he wants to foster it. He wants it to grow and be the best version of the Heights that it can be, because regardless of whether or not he was immigrated here or was born here, regardless of the movie or not, he loves his community, he loves his home, and he wants Usnavi to see that as well.
Yeah. Sonny is smarter than I think audiences realize he is when he shows up, right? Because he shows up late and he
loves Nina and he keeps on creeping on her.
I also want to know what is his age, because
I think he's like 15.
Okay, because that would make Nina 4 years older than him, because we find out that she used to be his babysitter. I'm like, is it one of those things where like he was 11, she was 15?
I'm just guessing here, but I think he's like 15, 16.
Yeah, because Robin De Jesus played him on Broadway, and Robin, also older than the role would imply. Sonny is he is smart, he is capable, he fixes the refrigerator. Yeah, he fixes that. And he's very aware of the outside world. I mean, he's young, he's passionate, and he wants to do more. As you said, he's the only one in 96,000 who doesn't think about himself with what he would do with the money. He would invest it in bettering the community and making people fight. He has the line, racism has gone from latent to blatant, which was true then, it's true now. Sonny has so much potential. The only thing holding him back right now is just his youth. And that's not, and I mean that in every way. Because when you're young, you don't know what you don't know. You haven't experienced what you haven't experienced. And your attention span is still kind of forming.
It's everywhere.
Passionate as he is, he can get distracted just like everybody else.
Yeah, but then again, he does take the money, and he is true to his word in a way. He takes some of the money and he invests in art. Yeah, which we love.
He invested in Graffiti Pete.
Yeah, I think he is true to his word, and I like whenever I play Sonny, I always write a letter of like where he is at that time, and I've always imagined him as someone who is like, I don't think he comes from like the greatest family. Like, I don't think his dad is super present. I think he lives with Abuela Claudia.
Yeah, we don't really know. That's the thing. We don't know in the show.
We don't know.
The movie makes it.
Oftentimes I just made it up.
The movie we discover that his dad is alive and he lives with his dad, and his dad is kind of a deadbeat. But that's it.
But I think I imagine one day like he grows up to be like some political figure. That's something that I like dream for him. But like Sonny to me is very close to my heart, because it's the first character that I ever worked on.
Oh, I think Sonny becomes the youngest member of city council.
Yeah, I think of all time. Like I really want him to succeed.
Yeah, and I feel like his journey is not going to be the same as like Nina is going on a very specific journey that a lot of people understand.
Everyone's trying to get out.
Yeah, but get out while also staying true to their roots. Vanessa's the only one who truly wants away. There's that line Usnavi has, I'm running to make it home, and home is where Vanessa's running away from. Yep. No one else is really like, I want to get out of the Heights.
But he's running away from, he's running to make it home to DR.
Well, so
he's running away from the Heights, which is like, we find out later his home.
Yes, but Usnavi doesn't think he's running away. Usnavi thinks he's running to something. Nobody thinks they're really running away. Everyone thinks they're running to something.
Right.
Vanessa thinks she's running to a better neighborhood, but she's actually running away from where her home is. Daniela and Carla, they're not running away, but they have to go to a new neighborhood because they can't afford the one they're in anymore.
I feel like they wish they could stay.
They absolutely wish they could stay. They are just being smart and realistic. Because as like the Piragua, everyone's got to keep scraping by. Nina's not trying to run away from anything. In fact, I think one of the things that's holding Nina back is that she's so committed to her home. She thinks that I think in addition to all the other things with Nina that's going on, right? Of like, am I good enough? Is this too much for me? There's also the element of like, if I go to Stanford for another 3 years, like, am I going to become one of those yuppies who like says weekend as a verb?
Right.
I don't want that. And she learns along with a lot of other people, you can't take away where you're from you if it means something to you, right? Like, I'm technically from New Jersey, that doesn't mean shit to me, but I do love Cheesecake Factory.
Me too.
It's great.
Novel of a menu.
Exactly. And portions the size of my head, thank Jesus. But Usnavi realizes it in a literal term of what home means. Because he's thinking that home is the Dominican Republic. And he realizes in that last moment when Graffiti Pete makes the mural for Abuela Claudia, home is where he's been this whole time. And
he starts seeing everything in a new way.
Yeah,
He's
everything
no longer choking in the heat. He's chilling in the heat.
Yeah, everything is making everything is making sense in a different way now.
Yeah.
There's a new filter on everything, and it gives him a new perspective on life and a new determination. Because until then, he's always been kind of a little flippity floppity. Even how he is with Vanessa, he likes her and he wants to make a move, but he's a little
passive.
He's a little too. Oh my God!
Yeah.
He's like, I'm a nice guy. I would never be so bold. Why would I do that? That's for the leading man of a movie.
And that's why. So I'm reading this script analysis book. They talk about the inciting incident, and each character has their own version of like what it means to go from being passive to like then have something happen to them that challenges them.
Yeah.
And that's why I like the lottery being so early in Usnavi's career or lifespan within the show, because it really challenges him. And in the play, it doesn't. I'm trying to like figure out in the movie musical, I can't figure out what it is, the thing that challenges him in order to like decide that no, this is my home.
Well, so in the movie, it's one of those like, you build the head of the horse, the legs fall off. They make the finale of the movie where he comes to the bodega and Vanessa and Graffiti Pete and Sonny conspire together to make the whole bodega basically the Dominican Republic with a little nod to Abuela in like the upper corner. And
oh, that's right.
Yeah.
They don't even do the
they don't do
great.
They don't do the great. And also Usnavi's bodega.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Usnavi's bodega doesn't get ransacked.
He's telling the story
blackout.
to his kids,
to his one kid and other neighborhood kids.
Yeah.
In the bodega, which that framing device bugs me because every time you watch it, knowing what the twist is, a lot of things about the framing device don't make sense anymore. Like him explaining who everyone in the neighborhood is and what's going on in the neighborhood when it's a neighborhood that those kids live in. I'm like, it's one thing if you're like talking about the history, but he's not talking about the history. He's like he's talking about Vanessa and Nina, like, and we see them like in the end in the movie. Or I'm like, oh, so these kids know these people. What are we doing here? Yeah, or like, or they're talking, you must take the A train. I'm like, we
know.
Yeah, or there's a lot about the movie that bugs me.
Or maybe they're kids. They don't know.
They don't know. I know. There's a lot about the movie that bugs me. I also have a problem with the visual vocabulary of that movie because every number is framed of like, I have a new idea of how to do this number rather than like, here's the
consistent like theme,
the visualness of the movie.
Got it.
So like whereas Chicago, it's like, okay, it's every number has to be in Roxy's head.
Right. And it's taking place on a stage in front of an audience.
Exactly. In a nightclub that Roxy knows. Yeah. So it's always her fantasy of like how the world makes sense to me is a nightclub number.
Okay. And you think that in the movie it's different?
Yes.
Okay.
In the Heights, there's no consistency. Everything is just sort of this would be cool.
Who directed it? Was it Rob? It wasn't Rob Marshall. No. Why did I think that?
Because he's done so many.
He's done a lot of great ones, in my opinion.
He's done
Chicago. He did Little Mermaid recently.
I haven't seen the new Little Mermaid.
So fucking good. And Lin-Manuel, and I love it.
I will see the new Little Mermaid at some point. It is the animated film is one of my favorites of all time.
Sure, that's what people say.
And the live action remakes far for me have been all garbage.
The best one, the best live action.
That is. I'm sure that even if that's true, it's such a low bar.
Halle Berry?
No, it's Halle Bailey.
Halle Bailey.
Yes.
Not to be confused with.
I know. Well, I know because I think Halle Berry, and then I'm like, oh,
it's the name.
So I think Haley Berry, and it's not Haley Berry. It's Halle Bailey. I've heard she's lovely.
Nuts.
I had to review the soundtrack, and she sounds great. There are a couple things that I personally feel like she oversins, but it's not. I don't think that's her problem. That's me telling the music director. You can tell Halle to soften up here because her voice is incredible. But I'm like, yeah, like the first two verses of Part of Your World should be more speak thingy and then should build.
Is that based on what you know?
What I know? No, I've heard many versions of it. For me, it's of all the versions I've heard, I find that to be the most effective, especially in a movie where it's just more intimate. When you're on stage, you can afford to be a little more sing-singy.
Sure.
That's just me. With In the Heights, though, so with that ending, it becomes about, you don't have to go to the Dominican Republic because we brought it to you. And that, rather than showing him that his home has been here all along, just by, and
It's almost like he's compensating still.
kind of, yeah. And like Abuela Claudia is the centerpiece of the moment in the show, right? That great, it's just her face. And it's not graffiti, it's not Sunny and Graffiti Pete being like, how do we get Usnavi to stay? They're legitimately just like, we want to create some art, and we think Usnavi will appreciate this before he goes. It's not about getting him to stay. And because it's not about getting him to stay, and because it's something that just came from the heart, that ultimately is what convinces him. Whereas in the movie, it's more sort of like, we want you to stay. We brought the Dominican Republic to you. That's how it came off to me, is that Vanessa wants him to stay.
Vanessa wants him to stay for sure.
Yeah, and
You ought to stay.
because she's the one who ends up getting Graffiti Pete to do.
In the movie?
Yeah.
Oh no, God, I don't like that. I don't remember that.
Yeah, again, because I've seen the movie
Sorry, I'm
3
getting
times.
heated.
No, but again, this is why me seeing it 3 times is helpful, because I can come back to these moments. She's like going down those steps. Graffiti Pete's spray painting, and like one of his rags gets on her
And
shoe.
she wants to do something for Usnavi before he goes.
Yeah, and she sees it and it inspires her. So she inspires Graffiti Pete to make the thing. I think Sunny's a part of that somehow. She has like outfits made of Graffiti Pete's like spray can rags.
I like it when it's like Sunny. And that's also another problem with the movie, is that they do take a little bit from Sunny to like make more room, and Nina
to make room for Vanessa.
Room for the Vanessa and Usnavi relationship, which, you know,
it could
maybe needed to be deepened a little bit, but like
Yeah.
I don't think it needed to be deepened in the sake of other people's story.
So much. Yeah, no. They deepen it so much that it's at the expense of everything else.
Yeah.
It makes the Nina Benny relationship less interesting. It makes, I think, all the changes they make for Nina less interesting.
Do you think it makes Usnavi and Vanessa's relationship less interesting as a result?
No, I think Usnavi.
Or do you think it works for just them specifically?
I think Usnavi and Vanessa's relationship in the movie is interesting in the movie, but they've now made it the focal point of the movie when it never was in the show.
When you actually look at the musical in a way, and it's almost as if, yes, sure, of course we look at Usnavi as the lead of the show, but it is evenly distributed between characters.
I think that Usnavi. Okay, so I've seen 2 other productions of In the Heights that were not the Broadway run. I saw one at the Gallery Players in Brooklyn, which was a pretty, they followed the formula of the Broadway production in a lot of ways. When it's not Lin playing Usnavi, he doesn't feel like the lead. He feels like the linchpin that holds it all together.
Yep.
But like with Lin is just such a charismatic presence, and also it was a lot of people's first time seeing him on stage. It was a role that was just tailor-made to him, that is him. And so, and that dynamic energy, it's not that it didn't cast a shadow, but it altered the sort of the levels of how we felt about all those characters. It felt like Usnavi truly was the lead when it was Lin. I have not felt that about another Usnavi since him, which is not a negative about another Usnavi. It just has felt more like an ensemble piece.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And then the movie, Usnavi is the lead, but it's not because Anthony Ramos is just so dynamic. He's wonderful. But they just gave him more material, and they gave Vanessa more material. Vanessa became the female lead over Nina, because
It's usually Nina versus Vanessa.
Yeah, I would argue in the stage show, if you had to find 2 leads, it is Usnavi and it is Nina. They are the 2 protagonists of 2 very different storylines, but it all comes back to the idea of home.
Yeah.
And then Benny and Vanessa are like the secondary leads, with maybe Abuela Claudia and Sunny after that.
Yeah.
And the movie just feels like it's Usnavi and then Vanessa, and then everyone else is like very secondary. And I don't think that was the intention, but that doesn't matter, because that's what the result ended up being. And there are people who love the movie and think the movie's better, and I highly disagree with them. But people think that they've fixed a lot of stuff. I'm like, they fixed some Vanessa stuff. And not that they didn't fix it. They deepened some Vanessa stuff at the expense of other shit.
That's true.
Final thoughts on In the Heights.
In the Heights, love it. Want the revival. I want to play Usnavi.
Okay. If you could cut one song from In the Heights, what would it be?
I think it's a song that's already cut, but it breaks my heart to say. Like, from the movie, like it is either Enulti or Enough. But I do think if I had to choose between them, it would be Enough.
That's Camila's song?
Camila's song. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it could easily be done with text or a monologue or, I mean, she's not even in the movie, which is
I know.
one thing.
They killed that bitch in the movie.
I know. Which, you know, it still works, but
It's fine.
I missed her and I missed the song. There's not a song that I would cut, but if you forced me to,
Yeah.
I think I would cut that one.
Yeah. Okay, I would probably cut the same song if I'm being honest. Just because Act 2, I'm like, let's get to the cool breezes, shall we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about that?
Philippe, this has been lovely.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for going deep.
If you want people to find you, where can they find you?
PHILIPPEARROYO. I should have put an @ symbol before that, but at those letters is my Instagram, is my TikTok.
You have TikTok?
Well, I don't have anything worth looking at, but it's a lot of Dungeons and Dragons shit on there. You don't need Instagram. Just go to the Instagram. Don't look at the TikTok.
Just go to the Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, I say the same about me. I'm on Instagram at Matt like usual spelling. I now have Threads.
I now have Threads as well.
Yep, I've done 2
Never
posts.
going to use it.
I've done 2 posts.
I've done one.
What was your one post?
It said something along the lines of, "Oh wow, I get to be bad on Twitter or Threads as well."
Yeah.
Something, you know.
Yeah, all the people that I follow on Threads, their first post was like, "I'm here now."
Yeah, right. It's I like the meme of someone saying, "Yeah, well now I cannot figure out how to be creative on this one as well." It's
Yeah.
like question my creativity.
I
on
just
Threads.
I could never do Twitter, and I don't know. Maybe Threads will be.
I never looked at it. I never
We'll see.
had
We'll
it.
see. We'll
I
see.
never-
I think I can maybe do some more interactions on that with like the podcast of like, hey, what do we want to see done? But I digress. Again, on Instagram at Matt like usual spelling. If you like the podcast, you can give us a nice 5-star rating or a review. We got 2 new ratings and a new review. This one is actually from a few weeks ago, so I apologize for not reading it sooner. But cue the Light in the Piazza overture music. 5 stars. It's wonderful. It's marvelous. I love this podcast. Living in Germany, I do not often have opportunities to see or discuss theater, except Starlight Express, of course. Tear emoji. However, the insight that Matt gives every week makes me feel like I am there in New York City watching... Wait. I feel there in New York City watching... Okay. Feels like I am there in New York City watching. End of sentence. Then in quotation marks, is what I love to see, but with an S apostrophe. His commentary will make you laugh, smile, think, and cry. And then they wrote something in German that I can't pronounce. Viele Grube? I don't know, Duolingo. How does German work? Do you know?
that means we love Matt.
That's exactly what it means?
That's it. Yeah. I don't know.
Thank you for yes-anding my German there.
Yeah.
Thank you for that 5
You
stars.
wrote that comment, right?
Yes,
Okay.
I absolutely wrote that.
You write your own comments?
Yeah, I create a million different accounts. If I created accounts
That's
to write
smart.
If I created accounts to write reviews for this podcast, I would have 500 reviews on Apple. But unfortunately, I don't have the energy. No, but we love getting reviews. We love getting 5 stars. I mean, if you don't like the podcast, you can, here's the thing. If you don't like the podcast after listening to this and you want to give it 1 star, that is your right. I've gotten a couple of 1 stars. But I would prefer if you gave me 1 star to write a review because I want to know what it
why,
is.
yeah.
What you don't
Perception.
like. Just, without being crude. You don't have to say like Matt should kill himself because that's for my grandma to say. But if you have issues with the podcast and you want to say it by all means. I love to hear about it. Philippe, we close out every episode in post with a Broadway diva. That'll play us out as we finish out.
Okay.
Who would you like to play us out for this episode?
Like I could just say a Broadway diva.
Yeah.
His name.
Say her name.
Oh God. And so a singer.
Sure.
Okay.
We just need audio to play out with.
I think the Broadway diva I want to say in the spirit of Barbie is the person who sings Barbie Girl. I don't know
Aqua?
their name. Yeah. Aqua.
Sure.
Not a diva.
She's not Broadway though.
Nor is it Broadway.
No.
But okay, you know what? I'll go for Broadway.
Yeah.
All right, sorry.
I don't like your choices.
Sorry. You see, I yes and you. You don't yes and me. Where's the reciprocity?
This is my house.
Okay. Man, I feel like I gotta do something again. Bonnie Mulligan. She's great.
She's great.
What's not to like?
What's not to like? She's a fucking Tony winner now. Her and Sean Hayes, baby. Yeah, so that's it for now. Join us next week for the last episode of The Big Move, which will be Significant Other with Gunkle of the pod, Adam Ellsbury. So get ready for another 3-hour episode where I will cry. And that's it. Thank you so much, Philippe. And take us away, Bonnie. Bye.
Things just keep getting